Perspective is huge.
Yes.
And you need to get someone else's perspective and not be in your head so much. But you also need to understand what's happening in your brain because nobody else can. And so if you can, help people, help you, strength of the pack, then you can overcome anything, really.
Welcome to another episode of the Sweet Talking Podcast with me, Nepherti. And as always, I am joined with another special guest, another really awesome individual that I have the pleasure of knowing. They go by the name AmonTheWolf, and we're going to learn a lot more about them tonight. And I'm just really, really excited to have a conversation with them and have them on the podcast. They're the reason why I currently have a full body now, and I'm very, very grateful. So I wanted to have them on, not just as a thank you, but as a genuine curiosity, as I always want to get to know them a lot better. So we're going to definitely be doing that tonight, and I hope you all enjoy tonight's episode. And as always, if you haven't subscribed, be sure to like, subscribe, and all that. We really appreciate the support if you enjoyed tonight's episode. But as always, sit tight and let's have a good time tonight, shall we? All right. So Amon, how are you doing tonight?
Hi.
How are you doing?
I'm doing well.
Yeah.
Thank you. How are you?
I am doing pretty well myself. I'm really, really excited to just be able to sit down and talk with you. I know we had it's a very similar feeling to when I had Chelzchan a couple of episodes ago. Basically, having a chance to get to know somebody that I've always been curious about, but very, very difficult to get a hold of you one-on-one. So I'm very, very interested in. And I'm glad that we can make that happen and learn more about each other. So, yeah, I'm very, very excited about that.
Me too. Yeah, I'm super excited.
Nice.
And that dance was incredible. Holy moly.
Thank you. I'm just doing my best out here, but we'll be talking about you and your dancing as well. So I'm looking forward to asking, looking more into that too. So be prepared. So, as we always do here, let's go ahead and start off with, your pronouns. What do you go by?
I go by she, her.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, great. So, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, Amon? Like how you, just about a little bit about yourself. It can be to whatever degree. I'm just really interested to know more about you and just kind of like you're introducing yourself to someone for the first time, sort of thing. And you can be as detailed as you like to be.
I was born at a young age, and so I guess what people mostly know me for is somebody in the community. I am a commissioned artist, and I work on avatar assets and things like that. But yeah, I think for the most part, people just they know me for that, and I'm around a lot. And the community is incredible. So yeah, we can start with that.
Okay, cool. All right, so with that in mind, let's talk a little bit about what you're into, so you say you're a graphic designer, and you do a fair bit of that. So before we get into that, though, I would like to ask you just more about you in general, and I like to start off with VRChat related stuff because I think a lot of people watch this podcast because they want to get to know people from VRChat. They want to know what people are like, what the community can potentially be like, what kind of people exist in this space. So I want to always kind of lead with that, and then we can get into your creative pursuits later on. I think that'll be I think that's a good way to go into things. So, can you tell me a little bit about, just out of curiosity, where are you from?
I'm from California.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. And
Yeah.
and are you still in California?
No, I'm currently on location in Japan right now.
Oh, okay.
I'm a contracted engineer that works on an airplane. Mm-hmm.
Fantastic. That sounds really, really awesome. That's like very technical work that not many people can do. I know for you it's probably just like, oh, it's like the
Yeah.
everyday thing, but that's like really, really like technical work that you do, which is really awesome. So
Yeah, it's
go ahead.
it's hard to find kind of people to relate to and that sort of thing because it's like it seems so abstract.
Yeah.
But yeah, I work on an aircraft. Yeah.
So are you like, is it like the I guess the Air Force, would it be?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, my sister worked in the Air Force. She was in the Air Force for a good bit of time. So like I don't know that much about it, but I think it's just really cool to like know someone who has familiarity with the Air Force. I think that's pretty awesome. And so like how did you end up in Japan? How did you end up in Japan of all places?
Well, so I have a very long background with this type of airframe because I'm prior service as well.
Mm-hmm.
And when I joined the contracting business, they had a slot open for Japan. And before that, I was in Afghanistan for a while. And I was like, I will stay here if you send me to Japan, because I've always wanted to go there.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Like, yeah. They're like, yeah, you can go to Japan if you stay in that place. So I was there for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
But, I'm in Japan now, and I earned that spot, yeah.
Awesome. And do you know any Japanese? Did you have to learn that to be there?
A little bit, yeah. Skoshi.
Skoshi?
No. No, the second language here is English. Mm-hmm.
Yes, yeah, for sure it is. Yeah. I too have a little bit of a, that Japanese in me, like skoshi nihongo hanasemasu. Watashi. Hi. So I can speak. Skoshi. Skoshi shaberu. So I studied a good bit of Japanese when I was in school, and I also lived there for a little bit of time too. Like I went there for I was there for a semester. So it was to finish my minor actually. So like it's always really cool to hear about people who are like who've been in Japan, who work in Japan, because I've always thought about like would I want to do something like that, and for someone who's actually doing it, I think that's super interesting. So awesome.
Yeah, it's really, really nice.
Do you like? I mean, have you gone to any specific places in Japan at all? Like, have you done any traveling?
Mostly just military installations. Yeah. There's a lot of like key historical areas in Japan, and it's really easy to travel in Japan, which I'm sure you know. Like, you just get on like the Hayabusa, and you can get across the country in like 30 minutes. The public transit system is incredible.
It's phenomenal.
Here.
It is on point all the time. If they are like 10 seconds late, they apologize on the intercom. It's impeccable stuff. Impeccable stuff for sure. But yeah. So yeah, that's really cool. I won't ask where you're stationed. Obviously, that's too personal. But I'll say just so like you get to know a little bit about me. I went to school in Osaka. And I also, like, for my last week there, I was in Tokyo for a week. So I had a chance to visit Shibuya and I went to Akihabara as well. So that was you know, a really pivotal experience for me, for sure. But you know, this isn't about me. This is about you. But you know, so
I'm in northern Japan right now. It's super cold.
like Sapporo, like Sapporo-ish, up in that.
Misawa.
Oh, okay, cool, nice.
Misawa.
I have not had the opportunity to be up north, but I know it's always very different. It's very different across the nation, just like it's different across the U.S. Like no two states in the U.S. are the same. Just like you go to a different prefecture
Right.
in Japan, it's not the same.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool. All right, so let's jump into the VRChat stuff. So how long have you been doing VRChat for? How long have you been on the platform?
Ooh. A little bit longer than a year, I think. Yeah, I think I started using it in February of last year. Yeah.
Okay. And oh wow, that's not too long before I started actually. That's like 3 months before I started. That's interesting. Wow.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
yeah. I'm super surprised. Like I don't know. Like I'm so used to I'm so used to all of my guests having like years and years of experience. So having someone who's like
Yeah, they're like VRChat elders, you know?
I know you gotta
Like
respect.
they've been on there forever.
Yeah, you gotta respect your elders and all that. Cause like I learned from them. So yeah, like that's so cool to find someone who's like almost as young as me. Like you're like a little bit older than me. So that's cool. Nice. And so what got you into VRChat? Like what was the spark for you to get into VRChat?
Well, I've always been interested in the technology, and it's never really hit a pivotal moment that was really engaging until like the Rift S came out, I think. So after putting that on and trying it, I was like, okay, it's heading in the right direction and it has enough push and pull to like be something really great, and I want to be on the ground floor when it happens, you know?
Yeah.
So I played a lot of VR games. I mostly used it for in the beginning for 3D modeling because I can see it in a 3D space and have relative size. So I can sculpt something in ZBrush, for instance, which is a 3D rendering software, and kind of use it like it's clay, like in real time. But, you know, less messy.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
So I started doing that, and I started getting into game development for VR, and I started getting into VRChat, and I noticed that the expression and the social interaction between people and like the information you can glean, and like it was just such a different, it was a second world, you know, like most people have explained VRChat.
Yeah, like a second life, alternate life.
Yeah, and I kept going back to VRChat because every time I got on, I would see something different. Every time, you know? So that always kept me coming back to see what people had created and what people are doing, and that always intrigued me, and I always wanted to come back and see that. So that's how I got started in VRChat.
So it was mainly the interest in the technology and also the 3D modeling aspect of it. So like the creative side of things, yeah? Okay, interesting. So basically how long ago was that when you first found out about like the technology? Because like I have a very similar story. Like wanting to kind of get on I'm pretty late, all things considered, getting into the technology, but like I'm curious as to like how old were you when you were exposed to the technology, and then what got you into like the whole like 3D modeling aspect of it, and which obviously led you into VRChat.
Ooh, okay, so So I have a degree in graphic design, so I've been 3D modeling for a very long time. And I was really interested in its integration for, virtual reality. And I was looking at the first Oculus for a while, but those sort of things you can't really like tell unless you get it in your hands, and it wasn't really like attainable at the time, But I went to like a Best Buy and I put on a Rift S, and I was like, okay, cool, I can work with this. Like I can make things with this, And that's something that I really love to do is to be able to fabricate an idea, whether it's somebody else's or it's mine. Like starting with nothing and creating something is something that I think is very special, and no other creature on this planet can really do that,
Absolutely.
So,
Were you relatively young when you got into that?
I mean, how old is VR now? I don't even know. Like,
Yeah, I have no idea. Like you mentioned the Rift, and like I actually don't know. Like I don't know when the first headset came out. Like I know there are many headsets, but like, yeah, I don't even know.
I think VR has only been like marketable for like the past like 5 years, I think.
That feels kind of right. Yeah. Like I can't say for sure, but like yeah, somewhere in like 5 maybe 6-ish years. Yeah. Because like you always kind of heard about VR, but it always seemed like kind of like something that was just not for the normies. It was something for the elites, the people who had all the money, It was something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like it didn't really kind of, I guess, become accessible in a lot of ways, like with the Oculus Rift.
Right, exactly.
Probably around the time that you said.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I think it was like, I mean, my first headset was a Rift S. So that would have been like 2000 and, well, like 19? I don't know. 18? I don't know.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you
I can't
either.
remember what I ate yesterday.
Yeah, which is totally fine. Like I have very selective memory too. Like I'm horrible at remembering dates. Just I'm atrocious at it. So no worries. But yeah, like. Yeah, I also wanted to get into the technology. Like, it was very much kind of like, I wanted to just get into that myself and really kind of just experience it because it seemed really, really cool. And the technology is like, I feel like it's going to get to a point where it's going to get good enough that it's just easily accessible and the technology will improve and we won't have to have these massive pieces of plastic on our faces type of thing. And I'm hopeful for that, and I would love to see that. But like owning the technology, and not only that, but in your case, being able to actually like model things, like doing the 3D modeling aspect of things and being a creator, like that's special. That's incredibly special for sure. So like I want to hear more about that. So. Was it simply your interest in the VR technology that got you into 3D modeling? Because you said you have a degree in graphic design, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so.
No, I've been doing 3D modeling for a long time before VR came around.
Okay, all right, that makes a lot more sense. Okay, and so like, what are the things that you typically enjoy modeling most? And what have you modeled for VRChat in that regard?
That's a good question. So typically, whenever I do anything, I try to do something that I know I'm not good at.
Which is good. That's how you grow.
It's really easy to fall into it's really easy to fall into a pattern where you're super comfortable with it and you just kind of do the same thing over and over again. But for me, it doesn't feel like I'm growing at all or I'm learning anything, and then I'm not progressing, and then I just get burned out, So I always try to challenge myself and do something new. That's why I like the idea of like impossible machines so much. So, like, you know what a gyroscope is? Where they have, like, several different rings that rotate around each other. It looks like it might work a little bit in reality, but there's something about it that you can't quite grasp with your mind.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
a fourth dimension or something, you know?
Yeah, like
Sorry
like
if I'm getting too abstract.
oh no, like they install these things into controllers, right? They have gyroscopes in controllers, so you can like turn the controller and you have a response based on like space, like you're moving in space, and there's a response to that. Yeah, I get it. But go on.
Yeah, from the outside looking at it, it's
Yeah.
just like two rings that kind of like rotate around each other, but you can't really tell how they connect.
Mm-hmm.
Or kinetic artwork. Have you seen that?
No, I've never heard of kinetic
Where
artwork.
they like kind of, yeah, it's like a.
Oh no.
Impossible but real at the same time. I'm sorry.
Oh no. Like I was worried. Like you lagged there for a second. I'm like, oh shit, did I get kicked?
Oh.
But I'm.
Oh, you lagged there for a second too.
Okay. I think I hope we're good. There's always like a delay. It's like you look like you're fine, and then like
Yeah,
it
I
just.
think I'm good.
Yeah. I hope we're good. I hope we're good. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you're saying like it's like gyroscope is like rings that kind of rotate around each other. So can you go back into your thought process for that? I'm sorry.
Oh no. So I try to design things that are really complex.
Mm-hmm.
That's the short answer. You know, things that have a lot of moving parts but look beautiful when they work synonymously.
Mm. And this kinetic artwork, it sounds like that's part of it. So, like,
yeah.
what is kinetic? If you were explaining this to someone who had no idea what this was, like, how would you explain that to them? Like, break it down for someone who has no idea.
You know those old, what are they called? It's like you see them like in movies and stuff. It's like an old, like, it's like a rooster, and when the wind blows by, like it switches directions and it's also rotating at the same time.
Yeah.
Like what is that called?
It's like a compass, but it's like a
What is that
rooster.
called? It's like a compass, but for wind and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's kind of like a kinetic statue or kinetic artwork.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, that's so funny because like I can imagine what that is, but I think there's so many like people who are like, you know, Gen Zers who have no idea what that is. Like they probably never seen one in their life.
It's really hard to explain.
Yeah. We're like, what is this like rooster thing that like spins in the wind? Like what is that? Like But yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. So I guess what are the things that you typically model for VRChat? Like have you modeled anything specifically for VRChat, or do you stick to like a certain do you just do things for fun, or is it like specifically for VRChat?
Well, right now since I have so little time, it's mostly for VRChat, yeah.
Okay.
And it's a lot of Abby work, yeah.
Okay, so that's what I wanted. I did want to kind of get into that and like confirm that with you, because like I wasn't too sure if like I had like I've seen like I this is something I always say. My community already knows this. I say this a lot. Like I know most things because like I'm always kind of, I may not be around, but I'm always kind of paying attention and lurking and just kind of watching and listening. So like I've seen pictures of you just from VRChat, and I've seen that you've taken time to like go into like you've like changed up your avatar and made edits to it and such. So like this is all your work, or like this is your custom avatar, yeah?
Yeah. This is a base that I've heavily modified, yeah.
Okay.
And I've done a lot of Abby work for other individuals too, yeah.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
And is it is it mainly just modifying the things, modifying the bases and creating assets? So are you creating assets, or are you just modifying the base?
It's a little bit of both, and then there's also custom animations that I really like. Like, I love animating things, and making custom animations is like super cool, because that can be something that's also really unique. I don't see that a lot in VRChat, actually, like custom animations.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of like texture work and a lot of modeling, but not a lot of animations.
Yeah, like it's like somebody like from what I've observed, it seems that people like a few select people make animations, and then they kind of just like steal those animations and just plop them on their model. Yeah, that's what I've seen. So you do your own animations then, yeah?
Yeah, when an asset calls for an animation, I really like doing that, yeah.
Can you share some examples of like what you've done in terms of animations?
Yeah. So, Chelz's odor deck, both of them I've animated.
Okay.
So they have an asset, an odor deck from Death Stranding.
Okay.
Are you familiar with that game?
I'm familiar with the game.
Have you played that game?
I've seen
Okay.
I've seen like one of the first streams I saw of Chels was them playing Death Stranding. So, yes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So the I'm not familiar with the term, but I'm assuming it's like the backpack or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's the little scanner that comes out and has like a personality of its own.
Okay.
It tells you when like there's danger and stuff. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So they procured the asset, and I animated it and textured it and did a lot of other work with it. But yeah, I'm really proud of that one, because like I had to go frame by frame and make it look believable.
Wow. And are you doing that? Are you doing the animation in Unity? Is that where you do most of your work in, or are you using other programs? What programs do you use?
Right now I'm using, well, yeah, the best transition right now, unfortunately, is Blender to Unity.
Right.
And making some animations in Blender and then doing the rest in Unity. It's kind of like, how do I explain it? So like, as far as like video production, you get really good clips in Blender, and then segment them together in Unity. That's how I would explain it.
Okay, interesting. So you're making the pieces in Blender, and then you're putting them together. You're making them like a one unified piece in Unity. Okay. Interesting. And I think you said, did you say unfortunately it's Blender to Unity? Did you say unfortunately?
Yeah, I wish I could just go Blender to VRChat. That'd be cool.
Yeah. Huh. And do you for someone who's as experienced in this kind of work, this kind of 3D graphical work as you are, do you have any idea as to why it's necessary to use Unity, as opposed to just having like a straight transfer? Is it just a consequence of the technology and just the methodology that was used to kind of like link the two elements together? Like there's no like direct link from Blender to VRChat because the technology just isn't there, or is Unity just a specific kind of software that just allows for that sort of thing? Which, again, I've teased it, and I've messed around in Blender. It's not in Blender, but in Unity like once or twice, very very recently. I haven't done a whole lot with it, so I have a very rudimentary understanding of how it functions. So I'm asking the question from like a technical point of view, hoping that you'll be able to fill in the blanks and explain what you think in regards to that.
Yeah, so Unity is the engine that VRChat runs on. It's the foundational software that it runs on.
Okay.
So you need an SDK, which the developers have created
Mm-hmm.
for assets from Blender to translate into VRChat, and that's why you need Unity, because that's the engine that VRChat runs on.
Gotcha. So because it's the foundation of the software of the game itself, it makes sense to everything is built out of that.
Yeah.
So why don't you only build
Yeah,
in
if
Unity?
I was creating something...
Oh, sorry about that. No, sorry. Finish your
That's
thought.
okay.
Finish your thought. So yeah.
So if I was creating something for like, I don't know, if I was creating something for, like Gears of War or something that runs on the Unreal Engine, or Fortnite, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Fortnite runs on the Unreal Engine, so I would have to use that to translate assets that I made to put into that game. So it would go Blender, Unreal Engine, Fortnite, and then with this, it's, Blender, Unity, VRChat. It's just a translator between the two. Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay, that makes sense. Because what a lot of people don't really know or realize is that most games are built in an engine, and the assets are created and then imported into the engine, and thus uploaded into whatever game that they're making. Because Unity is very commonly used for games, as well as Unreal Engine, mostly Unreal Engine 4 these days. But so that's really really cool.
Soon.
Yeah, 5 is out. It's getting better. It's getting better. I keep up with these things here and there. I don't use the
Actual gamer? Actual gamer.
actual
Wow.
actual researcher. Actual researcher. I keep up. I keep up with these things. I don't, because I want to see where gaming is going, and I guess that would make me an actual gamer, because I care about how things are built, how things are made, even though I'm not very good at the whole creativity aspect of it. I mean, from the design perspective, I'm not very good at it. I think from a writer perspective, I could be pretty decent, but that's neither here nor there. But I'm familiar. I know a thing or two. Yeah.
I wonder, is that still a negative connotation, being called a gamer? I'm not sure.
I don't think so. I think that's pretty okay.
I don't think so either. Yeah.
Yeah, I think being called a gamer is pretty okay. I would say, personally. Yeah. Yeah. My next question was, why do you only build in Blender? Why not build in Unity and just kind of do everything there? Is it easier to do in Blender? I would imagine, because it's specifically for 3D modeling, Blender, and Unity isn't so much. It's for mainly building the framework for a game, how it's going to be moving and programmed and everything like that. So is there a specific?
Yes.
Is that basically the reason why you don't really do your building in Unity so much?
Yeah, so for modeling, Blender is how you forge the part. Unity is how you put the parts together.
Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Gotcha. Nice. So, I wanted to ask you about your you do 2D stuff too, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, tell us a little about the 2D side. What are you doing on there?
Well, so I have illustrated a lot. I've been drawing since I was a little kid.
Okay. Nice.
Probably too much.
I mean,
But,
is it ever too much? Is it ever too much?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I do pretty much everything in 2D. Yeah. Usually, when they go hand in hand a lot of times, with 3D modeling. You have a concept that you want to put into just getting your ideas out. Sometimes you can't write it all, So it's kind of you conceptualize it and then you draw it out and then you make a reference sheet, and then you make it in 3D. Or if you're doing, like, say, for instance, a music video, like, you draw it out in a storyboard, and then you put it together, and then you plan it that way. So a lot of things start in a 2D kind of format, but in regards to my art, I do like emotes, and I do everything. Most recently, though, I think what I'm known for is like emotes and like profile pictures and stuff like that.
Okay, yeah. Like I only recently heard about you doing Chel's emotes. I know we're gonna be referencing Chel's a lot.
And I
which,
did some of Red.
Oh yeah, and you did Reds also. Yeah.
How can you not talk about Chel's? Like,
I know. They're such a presence. They're very much just a presence, and it's a very significant one that's irreplaceable in a lot of ways. Absolutely. So yeah. So I guess since you've been drawing your entire life, I guess making emotes, like I guess what got you into doing the emotes, was it just because you were requested and you just kind of went into it, in that regard?
How did it all start? That's a good question too. Oh, geez. I think I drew something and I put it into the Undergarden, the art section, and then I was talking with Chelz, and I was like, hey, I'd like to really do this for you because, like, you know, it helps me become a better artist. I've never worked in that medium before. Because emotes are like, you have to fit so much detail in such a small area. You have so little canvas to work with, you know, and it has to be readable, and there's a lot of things that need to happen for it to be just right, or a good emote, quote unquote, you know?
Absolutely.
So it took me a long time. It took me a long time to get better at that, but I wanted to challenge myself because I hate being bad at stuff. I mean, nobody
you and me both.
Good at good at bad. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm trying to say, but like.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
But I wanted to challenge myself and make something good and be good at it and efficient. So I started making emotes, and then once those were shown, then other people saw that, and they were like, hey, I want that too. And so I was like, cool, yeah, like, let's do that. And things kind of like ramped up from there, right? Because I worked on my avatar, and people saw that, and they're like, hey, I want that. And so, yeah, that's when I started taking commissions. Probably like, a few months ago.
Nice.
But I don't really, for the most part, it's for just being better as an artist, more so than money, you know?
Yeah. So like, so you do your commissions, you do like, I mean, it makes sense to, like, if you do commissions, you know, people should, you know, be paying you a little bit for it, yeah? Yeah, there's like a little bit of compensation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, but of course it's not about that. It's for you as an artist, right. You know, you take the time, you're being billed for the labor, but for you it's very much like you want to get better. You want to improve yourself. So you're challenging yourself to do something that you haven't really done, which is again.
Yeah.
Like, talking to creatively inclined people is one of my favorite things to do. Because, like, I feel like I can understand them. And I can usually pretty much understand them because I myself am a very creative person. Obviously, you know, I wouldn't be doing this if I wasn't a creative person. But like I get the whole idea of like wanting to improve at something, to grow at something, to create something new, and hoping that people actually appreciate it. I think that's like really something that's really, really special. And you only really get that in the creative sphere. So like,
I agree.
Yeah, definitely a fan of that. So this is a relatively recent, I guess, development that you've started making avatars for people. Yeah.
Yeah, because I saw that I didn't have a lot of experience in it, so I wanted to do it and get better at it.
And so have you, like, do you still take commissions, or commissions, like, is that just like open to anybody? Can people actually request commission you, I should say?
I'm in such a creative debt right now. I have way too many commissions and not enough time.
Oh, so you're booked.
Yeah.
You're booked is what you're saying.
I'm pretty booked, yeah.
That is fair. So, all right. Gotcha. So, with all of that kind of talked about, yeah, that was really, really insightful to kind of like get a better idea of like what you do on the creative side of things. So I think that's like often missed. I think that's often missed when people like encounter you, because they usually see you at raves and such, and they're usually like, oh, it's Amon. Amon is really, really awesome dancer. So like I think it's important to really kind of tap into like the stuff that like you really are passionate about, because like I would imagine that you have a variety of passions. So I mean, yeah, and I think it's good to be well-rounded too, for sure. Yeah. So I do want to get into the other thing that I kind of like low-key mentioned in that little tirade, but I want to actually kind of ask you more about just VRChat in general, and I want to get a little bit more of a little bit more of your perceptions about it. You said there was you said very often that that whenever time you came into VRChat, there was something new every time that you came in. And from my perspective, like that's very much something that I experienced too, and that's really what kept me here. Like when I first started, I was going to public worlds, and like I wasn't exactly seeing anything new, but I felt like every time I got into VRChat, I would have a new experience. There would be something. I would meet another strange individual, or I'll go out find another world that's like really, really interesting and vibrant, or like it was usually like an encounter with someone who's been in VRChat. It was usually like an unexpected encounter. That's been a lot of the reason why I've like wanted to stay in VRChat. So would you say in your case, like what were the things that really kept you? I mean, aside from those everything being new, was there anything specific that kind of kept you here? I mean, I guess aside from the creative aspect, aside from meeting new people and all that, was there anything else that really drew you to this platform? Just kind of like I guess on a kind of general level, I guess.
So the music scene is incredible here. And I met somebody that I really liked, and thankfully from the very beginning, really, when I first started coming into VRChat, and so that was a really big initiative. I was super excited to always hop online and see this person, and so that kept me in VRChat too.
Yeah, I at the end of the day, I think it's very much like it is very much a social experience. Like when you get into VRChat, like you're encountering different kinds of people, and it's usually because of the people. I think that people stay in most cases. It's usually like it usually becomes a personal thing. Like you want to see a specific person. Like, I mean,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I think that's pretty. I think that's pretty commonplace. Like I wouldn't say that's very. For me, that wasn't entirely the case, but I guess it was kind of just a social reason, because I said I came across just interesting people, but yeah, I think yeah. If I really think back, yeah, I guess it did end up being one person. There was like one person that kind of like kept me coming back, that I met pretty early on. Yeah, that's interesting. So like, I wanna see, like, how do you view VRChat as a platform? Do you see it as, like, a lot of people see it as a second life. A lot of people see it as a way to spend time with their friends. A lot of people see it as an escape. How do you personally like view VRChat? Like, what is it to you?
Well, I see it in two ways. I see it kind of like from a product perspective. So it's really it's still in its infancy and it's still free form. It's kind of like the last bastion of emotional expression. And that's good, and that's also bad, right? Because people express themselves in ways that aren't appropriate for others.
Mm-hmm.
But I really enjoy the freedom of expression in VRChat. And then what does it mean to me emotionally is, well, it's been really important to me because I've been here, I'm here alone in Japan. So as far as like my social interaction or, even feeling affection, it's been life-changing, really.
Yeah. Makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I would. I totally agree with that. Like, it's very easy to, like, when you're like in a different place. It's pretty easy to get lonely. I think it's a very common experience. Like, loneliness is an extremely common human experience that we all go through, and in one way or another. And to be able to have a platform where you can kind of jump into and be able to be around people that you like and people that matter to you, and or just meet new people in general, and or just vibe like in a space where no one maybe even paying attention to you. I think that's like, to have that is super that's like extremely progressive. Like, that's like,
Yeah.
it's like the way that I typically describe it is like VRChat and I think is like, it's the next stage of social interaction, because like we had like way back in the day,
Yeah,
we had we had like message boards back in the day, and then we had chat rooms, and then we had instant messengers, and then we had Skype, and then I think Discord and VR, I think kind of well, Discord and VRChat I think maybe came around the same time, I think, maybe. So like, it's like the next stage of like social interaction where like you have like literal children coming on this app because it's free and there's no limits.
That's another thing too, right?
Yeah. You have like literal children getting on this app, getting on this platform to hang out with their friends or just do whatever. And it's they treat it like it's like you're having a straight up like conversation, or that you're hanging out in like a chat room or something. It's just a 3D space instead of a chat room. And I think that's so cool. Like I really like that something like this exists. I think it's really important that something like this exists. But obviously, like we said earlier, like the fact that like kids can like come in here and like do whatever they want, it's just like, it's I kind of wish that wasn't the case, but I mean, you can't really limit technology to the like the adults. I think because like at the end of the day, like adults can be like children, like adults.
Absolutely, they can.
Yeah.
I see it every day in VRChat, yeah.
Yeah, like you have grown people acting like fucking like man children or whatever, like babies and shit. It's really pathetic. So like you can't limit a platform because like it's all, we're already fucked. We're already fucked with which is how people like conduct themselves. Yeah, it's really
people are getting fucked too.
That too. Very true. Very, very true. We cannot deny that. There's a lot of naughty stuff going on in VRChat. We all know it. We all know it. It's no secret. So So like, you know, when you have something like this, it's I think it's really important, but it's also good to be aware of like the other layers. There are many layers to this onion of like social interaction, because at the end of the day, like, we all want it, we all crave it, and fortunately we have a free platform that supplies that to many of us, whether we're across the ocean or, you know, like a state over. It doesn't matter. It's a really great thing. It's a really great thing, when used
Yeah,
for the right reasons.
yeah, absolutely. Like the idea of a platform that has unlimited creative freedom is really, really exciting. And if you have some perspective on it, it's really interesting because, like, somebody will ask you, like, oh, how was your weekend? What did you do? And you think, well, you know, I had a chew high on Mars in VRChat. And you're like, my weekend was good.
Yeah.
It's just so abstract to other people, but like, it's such a, you can go anywhere and do anything for the most part, yeah.
Yeah, and I think those kinds of experiences are very important. I think VR will be necessary for like even more like vibrant experiences in the future. And like, as long as people continue to be creative, as long as people continue to make worlds and continue to not let like the limitations of their imagination kind of like limit what they do, we're gonna it's going to be a really interesting period of time that we're going to be living in the next 10 to 15 years. It's going to be very interesting, especially with technologies like chat GBT and everything like that. Like that's like from like a search engine perspective, like that's going to be really interesting. From like just an information gathering perspective, that's going to be really interesting. But I am looking forward to the day when like VR and AR, I don't know if they'll ever like overlap, but that will be a very interesting day if we can finally figure out how to make
That will
those
be
two.
interesting, yeah.
Yeah, to have them overlap. So like
Yeah.
you can like be in VR and you can like use your phone or use a phone and like literally call somebody in VR. That'd be pretty sick. Yeah. But yeah.
I think that's not too far away either, to be honest.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
given how like artificial intelligence and like is like how that's kind of coming along even faster than we predicted, and like you look at things like Unreal Engine 5, like literal like realism, like you can't tell the difference in many cases. Like we're getting pretty close, but I do think, like, though we're pretty close, I do think we're still pretty far off, because, like, sure, we can maybe achieve, like, near realism in Unreal Engine 5, but getting that near realism in VR technology, I think that's still pretty far off. Like, what do you think about that?
As far as augmented reality goes, I think we're pretty close, and I think that's, like, what the Quest Pro is trying to do. But from a business perspective, integrating something, so say for instance, I design something in 3D, I'm able to give that to somebody that has a Quest Pro on, and they can see it, but also everybody around them, you know. It's a weird, like, dystopian concept to think that, like, maybe someday in an office setting, everybody just comes in and puts on headsets.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean?
Yeah, like we are all controlled by the technological overlords. We all do the same things. It's great, but also pretty scary. Like when you look at it from that perspective too. Yeah.
Also, like the amount of information that's coming off of people, right? So I'm completely covered in sensors, and like my body movements and like my mannerisms and my voice and everything, it's all translated into ones and zeros at some point.
Yes.
If I recorded myself for long enough, I could probably just make an NPC of myself, you know?
Yeah.
There's nothing really stopping anybody else from doing that.
Yeah. Have you speaking of that, have you seen like the deep fake stuff Like, or I'm not even the deep fake.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it is the deep fake stuff, but also like the actual AI stuff where people have made AI of like actual people. Like I know it's really
Yeah, I've been watching
yeah.
like
Go ahead.
the U.S. presidents play Minecraft.
Yeah, stuff like
Like all
that.
of their language.
It's literally just taking
It's so
recordings
funny.
of all of them like talking like and just creating a scenario where an AI or like I guess not really AI but it's machine learning. It's like learning all of their like inflections in their language and then basically like changing that into a scenario where they're playing a game, which is ridiculous. Like that's crazy. Like,
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. So
I
yeah.
think it's just one of those things with technology that's it's advancing so quickly, and you either have to embrace it and understand it, or you're gonna get left behind. Really, there's a lot of people that want to hold on to the concept that like I only do art, with specific media, and I don't like AI generating art and stuff. But it's just another evolutionary step in technology, and you either like understand and adapt with it and learn how to use it, or you get kind of like left behind.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that. So how do you feel about AI art and that sort of thing? What are your thoughts about that? Do you have any opinions on that?
Well, I mean, if I was like super mad about it, it wouldn't go away. So it doesn't really make any difference if I'm mad or sad about it. But like, it's all using references that were already created by really talented artists. And I'm not sure if as an artist I can pick it out pretty easily whether or not it's made from AI or not. But I think the things that are done really well art-wise, like not mass-produced, will be that much more valuable because the things that are mass-produced and copied over and over again, they're, I mean, anybody can go online and make emotes with an AI generator in 5 minutes, and that would take me hours,
True.
But if I created something that's truly unique, it would be much more valuable because no AI can create that, really. So it's not so much that it's taking away anything, but, the things that are really good will be more valuable and unique, I think, because of it.
But what if, just playing devil's advocate for a second, like you say that I agree that taking like creating something that's more unique is very, very good. I think that will stand out in comparison to the AI art, and I agree with you there. But what if enough unique pieces of art is used to power the machine learning that's pushing out the art? Like what then? So like if enough creative people make unique things and that's all being used to create this one thing in the AR, what do you do then?
Well, then it's no longer unique, right? By definition.
True.
So as an artist, you constantly have to push yourself to be better and make something that no one has ever seen before. And that's all part of being an artist, and that's not something a machine can learn.
So you think that human ingenuity and creativity will always find a way to evolve in a way that will overcome the limitations of what machine learning can accomplish?
Absolutely, yeah. Because because human creativity is the foundation of human learning, AI human learning.
So the humans are going to win and the robots are going to lose, yeah?
Well, so the robots are going to win, but we're going to make really good emotes.
Oh, okay. I mean, in that case, I mean, as long as we're being honest here, that's yeah, that's a fair point. Yeah. but yeah, like it's such an interesting idea and very, very it's a very interesting topic to really talk about, and I haven't really had a chance to talk to someone about this like directly and get their real opinion and their real thoughts about it. So it's interesting that you truly believe that humans will continue to figure out ways to to avoid the ultimate mass production of artwork, and they will continue to be better. But I do think I do.
I mean,
yeah. Go ahead.
so on a base level, if we don't adapt, we don't survive. That's just how it works, you know?
Yeah.
You know, whether it's art or food or whatever.
Sure.
That's just how it works. So either we win or we lose, you know?
Yeah, and
we have to adapt to survive.
and we actually have some fairly good experience in surviving, given the fact that we as a species are still here. So I think we've done pretty well. You know, I think we have a pretty good track record of adapting for such a long period of time. But I mean, when it comes to like creativity and things of that nature, I think a lot of people, like, creativity is not common. A creative person, I think everyone can be creative, but the people who actually act upon that creativity is not very common. So I think a lot of people who understand and like who are like, well, like, they're already like, I'm just trying to like get better. I'm just trying to improve myself. And then there's like AI art doing this thing. Like, what am I ever gonna do? Like, I think a lot of people who haven't been really creative for a longer period of time than some other people, I think they are the ones that are most afraid of being replaced. But I also think that it's not even limited to those people. I just think that those people who may be lower down, like lower on the totem pole, may be a little bit more afraid than the people who are high up. I think everyone has some level of concern about that. But like, do you think that?
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
Yeah. And do you think that regulation for like actually noting what is AI? Do you think regulation will be necessary to just like do away with the inability to distinguish actual artwork from AI? Do you think that'll be necessary? Do you think that's important?
I think from a business perspective, yes. Like when you're selling artwork and stuff, or you're doing it only for monetization, yeah. But ultimately, like, art is an expression, and it's about how it makes you feel. And if you get something and it makes you feel a certain way, and you realize that it's not made by a person and made from an AI, then that really has to do with how you interact with it on a person by person basis. To me, just because somebody some person didn't make it doesn't mean that it's not beautiful.
Interesting. So you wouldn't immediately write off a piece of artwork that has been made by machine learning as just like, this is horrible. This is a bastardization of the creative nature of humans. Like, you would still see something that was created by a machine as valuable and beautiful.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Interesting. Okay. Huh. That is good to know. That's good to know. All right. So, I want to know more of your thoughts on the we were talking earlier about, we touched on it, and then we went to like machine learning and like AI and things like that. But would you feel comfortable if someone made an NPC of you? How would that make you feel?
Yeah, I mean, there's probably a lot of more interesting people to make an NPC of. It would actually be kind of flattering, to be honest, They spent that much time developing something that mimics me, but yeah, that's a really good question.
Yeah. So, like,
you could go see a movie.
Yeah. So, what do they say about that? Mimicry, mimicry is like the biggest flattery. Like
the form of flattery.
Yeah, form of flattery. Yeah. So that's interesting. Like I've heard some streamers wouldn't mind having an NPC made of them, and basically they would like turn on the AI they'll turn on their NPC of them, and then they'll just go and sleep, or they'll go do other things, and then their AI will just run the stream for them, type of thing. But that would be kind of hard to do in VRChat. For VRChat streamers, I think will have a hard time achieving that. I think that's more so for the the people who are outside of VR and 2D. It's more for like the humans, the humans out there. So like, I mean, I guess that could be interesting. I guess that idea of like having an AI made of you. Oh, not an AI. Well, I guess like a system that is mimicking you based on your voice inflections, the words that you've used, how you speak, and how you formulate your sentences and thoughts. That would be interesting to see, but I think that'd be kind of creepy.
Yeah, probably at first, right?
Yeah.
Just like kind of just like going into VRChat for the first time and seeing something weird, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like
now,
yeah.
You're kind of used to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
What would be the first thing you asked the NPC of you?
I actually don't even know. I actually have no idea what I would ask it, which is strange. Like, you'd think I would have like a witty answer about that, but I don't, because like if it's truly a copy of me, then well, you know what I would do? I would ask it a distant memory. I would ask it like, where did I go to school when I was 6 years old, type of thing.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Just to see how long or how I guess in depth it's learned about you.
Yeah, like to what degree? Because like I think that I don't think it'll be able to answer that, because I've never talked about that in public. So it has no information or data on that, and I've never published anything of that information on the internet. So even if it could also access the internet and access like a Wikipedia of me, which I don't think exists, because I'm just a VRChat creator. I'm no one super important. So like there's no information about me in that regard. So I would probably ask the question, and I would hope that the machine would just kind of like crash. That's what I would expect, because it wouldn't be able to process that, and it wouldn't know. So
what would be your reaction if it answered it accurately?
You
just disconnect. You just start running away.
I would truly think that we're in trouble. That we're truly in for it. Like we've gone really far, and now there's no going back if it could actually answer something like that.
We've gone too far.
Yeah. But like, humans will always go too far. Like, it's just, by nature, they will always go too far. And like I think it's an interesting idea. It's an interesting concept, and yeah, it's really nice to be able to talk to someone about this, because like I
Aww.
yeah, because I'm glad that you're like super familiar with these sorts of things. And like it does correlate with the whole like artistry and being creative and all that. So like yeah, being able to like talk to you about this is pretty cool. Yeah. I had another question for you, but I don't recall what it was. So we'll go ahead and move on to dancing and the rave scene.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. So
yeah.
So you mentioned earlier that being in the rave scene, the music scene, is very that's really kept you here in VRChat for a pretty lengthy period of time, and you've met some really great people, and yeah, it's been a very important part of your stay and your VRChat experience. So can you tell us a little bit about like how you discovered that scene, and kind of like what is it about it that you find so addicting?
Well, I'm gonna drop some names here. I hope they don't mind. But just to give you a little bit of background, I'm also a composer and a musician. I've played in a band for several years and
What?
written my own music.
What?
Yeah. Yeah.
What? Okay. All right. That I didn't
Yeah.
know. That is a surprise. Okay, I did my research, but that is a surprise. Okay. Go on. Go on.
Yeah, so I love music. I wouldn't be alive if it wasn't for music. And so one of my first nights, I went to the Black Cat like everybody does.
Yeah.
And somebody, you know, that we know as the Chelzchan.
Yes.
They
The one
were
and only.
playing music there, you know, like, yeah.
Mm.
And I just started, well, before that, I started going to the Black Cat every night, and I would hop from a Black Cat to another Black Cat, waiting for people to play music. And it's just an interesting thing to go to, you know, different areas of the world, people from all over the world playing their kinds of music and understanding it and listening to it. And so, like, I would just go Black Cat to Black Cat, and I would listen to music, and then I would go to, like, the Void Club and try to find as much music as I could. Also, I taught myself how to dance. I was like, you know what, I'm not very good at this, and I want to be good at this, so I just learned how to do it.
Cool.
And so Chelz was playing music, and that just started this whole thing where through Chelz I met Red, and then, you know, I started going to Red shows and, like, being introduced to more and more artists and being included in that scene. And it's such a diverse, like, group of people and community that, like, all different types of music and understand it. And that's how it all got started. So, like, creativity in general is very entwined with my experience with VRChat, whether it's modeling or drawing or music or expression. And it's just like a great platform to do that.
I see. So yeah, music is very much integrated into your life, and like, just, you know, just who you are as an individual, and, you know, meeting people in VRChat who share that love of music just really kind of, it just really hit the spot in terms of, like, you wanting to be a part of it. Yeah,
if you think about it this way, like when Chelz does their visualizer stream, what you're looking at is really all of those things in one spot at one time. You're looking at 3D modeling, you're looking at visual art, you're looking at music, you're looking at expression, all right there in one spot at the same time.
Yeah. It is an amalgamation of creativity that is just, like, expressed all at once. And it's very, very cool.
It's so awesome. It's so awesome.
Very, very exciting. Yeah. Yeah. Like, I definitely, like, I remember, like, my first time being exposed to, like, the rave scene in VRChat, and it's just, like, it's an experience, because, like, it wouldn't cross anyone's mind that this sort of thing exists on this platform, that there's, like, an underground scene that exists in this game on this platform, however you want to call it. It's so crazy that even is a thing. And when you experience it, it's just like, wow, like, there are so many ways that people express themselves on this platform, and the devs don't seem to mind it, which is great. Like, that's wonderful. Like, they don't shut people down. like when like truly like when if like we actually do get into apocalyptic situation where like the government becomes like like irrevocably corrupt and like music is outlawed and shit, VRChat will like be like the last bastion. It truly will be like
The last bastion for sure.
yeah so
You got any of those beats? You got any of those bops?
yeah.
Yeah, I need some of those bops.
True. Like tell me where to get more of that, because like it's so cool. It's so awesome to see, and I love it so much. So it was so you said you taught yourself how to dance. So was that like a lot of your motivation for doing things has been very much like, I don't know how to do this thing. This thing is interesting. Let me learn how to do this thing. And then once you learn the thing, it's like,
Yeah,
let me learn how to do this thing better now that I've learned how to do this thing. So
yeah, I'm very self-driven in that way. Yeah.
and this is why I feel like you and I get along. This is why I feel like it's very like there's definitely a like-mindedness that we have of like, hey, like if there is a challenge in front of me, or if there's something that I'm interested in doing, I'm not going to immediately ask for help. I'm going to see what I can do, if I can figure it out myself, because there's always someone who's tried to do it before I did. So there's always a way to kind of piece together things on your own, and to be self-motivated in that regard is probably as rare as it is to be creative. Because I feel like it takes that.
Yeah, I don't see it a lot, unfortunately.
Yeah, like there's a lot of people who say like, oh, I'd love to do this and that and the other, and they never really take the time to even take the first step to learn it. It's always just words. It's never action. And like I love that someone like you is here talking about like how you're self-driven in this regard to just learn new things. And I think I'm hoping that many people are like inspired by like how you do and how you carry yourself. I think that's so important, so valuable, and
Aw,
yeah,
inspired by me.
yes,
What, me?
yes, inspired by you, indeed, of course, yes. So like that's really really cool. So like, how did you teach yourself how to dance? Like, how did you go about doing that?
Well, so like, you know, being a musician and growing up around music and everything, like I have a natural like rhythm. It was just taking what I knew already and translating that into body movements that could express or accentuate better what I was trying to say or convey for a specific song or melody. And I would see things on YouTube. I'm like, I really want to know how to do that, because that looks really hard to do.
Yeah.
But when it's pulled off in the right way, it looks incredible. It looks like something like, you know, super unique and entertaining and like super expressive, and that's why I wanted to learn it. That's how I learned how to do like the heel toe.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, that looks like really hard to do, so I just like learned how to do it, and I just like kept doing it over and over and over again until I got better at it. But it's been like a slow process, you know. I still feel like I just flail around, but I'm building the tools to be more expressive with my body, and I think that's how I look at it.
So it's very much, you use music as a way of kind of channeling that expression through movement. So you hear the
Absolutely.
music, you process where it's going, you try to move with the music, and like, because you're paying attention to the beat, the flow, the vibe, the energy. There are many layers to it, and you're paying attention to all of that, which is like, that's like super super interesting, and like that's how I perceive it too. But I've never really I wanted to ask you how you went about doing that, because it's very similar. I do the same thing. I also grew up around music. Like my father was a composer, and he was also a singer, and his father was a singer. So like, I grew up around music like my entire life. So like, the idea of being able to express yourself and like listen to a tune and just understand like the energy and the vibe and be able to translate that through like bodily movement is such a beautiful thing. It's such a really, really awesome thing. So like that's cool. It's really, really nice to like hear someone else like talk about like I wanted to learn this.
Aw.
I wanted to learn this, and I think that's really, really awesome. Because like, I too feel like I'm just flailing around sometimes, especially like in VR. Like I've never, obviously, I've only recently been able to like fully dance in VR. So like when I watch myself, like it doesn't feel like I'm flailing around, but when I watch myself, I look like I'm just flailing around. And like
Exactly.
yeah, like
exactly.
I don't like that feeling. But I mean, obviously there are limitations. Like it can't track like every bodily movement can't be tracked because it's just not possible.
Yeah.
But you know, I think if people can really kind of understand that and understand like the conveyance of expression, I guess that's kind of the most important thing. Like if people can feel that energy and
Yeah.
and really understand that, I think that's important. Yeah.
Yeah, passion is very inherent. So even if you don't know any dance moves, like I will watch somebody just kind of like sway and move to the beat and convey their emotions even though they're not quote unquote a good dancer any day over somebody that just knows how to moonwalk or something like that. Like those are just utensils. Those are just like paintbrushes that you use to paint your expression. That's not your whole expression, you know?
Yeah. That's great. Yeah, I love that metaphor of like movement is akin to painting, and you're gradually learning how to better utilize the brush to paint a better picture.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the music. I like that. I like that. That's really good. Yeah. I may have to steal that.
Yeah, go for it.
yeah, and like the artistic metaphors that you use, like I really like how like the design of your avatar and like especially obviously in the hair is very much like it feels like it's like a paint it's been like painted, and like it looks it's a nice I think it's a nice tie-dye colors of like pink and blue. And I want to know a little bit more about that, because I know you said you've put assets together to essentially make your own avatar, essentially like your own unique look, your own unique branding. I'd like to hear a little bit about that experience and like how you've framed that, how you framed like your I guess how did you decide to like go with this particular look, and how did that evolve?
Well, first it was kind of like, what do I want, or how do I want to be conveyed or seen, you know, in VRChat? And that has a lot to do with like my personality and the way I act, but also the way I look, obviously. But in regards to like this hair color, I really like the retro wave kind of vaporwave aesthetic because it's like so, it's comfortable. And the reason why it's comfortable is I'm going to get into a little like color theory that's kind of nerdy. I'm sorry.
Nope. Get nerdy.
But
like
most attractive.
I think you realize that I'm quite nerdy. We're talking about fucking game engines 20 minutes
cool.
ago. Yeah, get nerdy. Please.
True. Well, the two most attractive colors to the human eye are blue and orange, and that's why you see them on every movie action movie poster. Retro wave is the spectrum, or they use the color spectrum in between those two, and so like these two contrast really, really well, and so it's just pleasing to the eye to see, and it's not too abrasive usually, you know. But breaks things up, and it just, I don't know. I think it looks really attractive. I think it looks really pretty. So that's why, this is my patented, like, look. I usually have hair that looks like this or something that looks like that, yeah.
Yeah.
And then, for the mask, it's, I wanted to do something different, but then also be very iconic. And a lot of people, they wear, masks on their avatars and everything, but I wanted something a little bit different, but also characterizes my name, which also has, like, its own meaning.
Do tell.
Yeah, that's why, yeah, you want to roll right into that? Okay, so...
Yeah, let's go.
So Amon comes from a former call sign I had in the military. I inherited it. And then I chose the wolf because of, the iconic saying from the Jungle Book, the strength of the pack is the wolf, and the strength of the wolf is the pack, which I really do believe, And so that's how this name came about, yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Some people think that, like, the whole wolf thing is a little played out, but it really means something special to me.
Yeah, I've certainly seen a lot of, like, play on the idea of, like, the wolf or wolf being used in various ways. But if it has a specific meaning to you, I think that's, like, the most important thing. It's good to understand, like, why you chose a certain name. And, like, I said, talking to creative people is one of my favorite things to do, because I love picking their mind. I love picking their brain as to why they chose certain things, because a creative person does not choose things arbitrarily. They always choose things deliberately.
Right, exactly.
It's always with meaning involved.
It always has a purpose.
Yeah, 100%. So, like, I was hoping that we could get to that, and I completely forgotten about it until you mentioned that. But yeah, I did want to know not only about your avatar, but about your name too, which is I love. Like, I love like hearing about, like, the meaning behind your name and how that all kind of correlates with your design and everything. So, so is it? Go ahead.
I wanted to ask you about that too.
Oh, okay. All right.
I don't know if you've covered that or not, but yeah.
You want to ask that about me?
If that's okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Like, your name, what does it mean to you?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I can definitely talk about that. So my name, Nepherti, is well, I mean, it is kind of lore related, but I'm not gonna like beat around the bush. It basically is a play on the queen, a queen of Egypt, a well-known lady called Nefertiti, that is from Egyptian mythology. So she was known, like, the name Nefertiti ultimately means, like, the beautiful, like the beautiful one, or like the one who waits, kind of thing. So it has a deep connotation, obviously, with Egyptian mythology. But I also wanted to have something. I wanted to have a name that tied into my whole identity of being someone who seeks knowledge, someone who seeks knowledge, because I believe that knowledge is power. So it's kind of a change. It's a switch on the idea of like desiring power because I'm a queen. It's the desire of wanting knowledge to ultimately become more powerful, and by having more knowledge and understanding people better, I feel like that kind of correlates into ultimately hopefully becoming, someone of worth, someone who is worthy of being seen as, something of a queen-like figure one day. But at the end of the day, even if I'm not, my goal is ultimately to gain knowledge and to understand people. I love psychology, so it's very much kind of a desire to understand people better, and ultimately to regain my place as as a reincarnated being, 'cause I'm just a reincarnated demon kitty right now, but there is more. There is definitely
Right.
more to it, for sure. And I'm hoping that
That's really profound.
yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping that one day, like, I'll get to the point where I can actually, like, reveal, like, a more fleshed out version of my identity. But for now, being a demonic kitty with these green eyes that reflect the idea of greed, because I can do that. I can do that with this particular avatar.
Okay.
So, you know, I always say I'm
Awesome.
the greedy kitty. So, like, okay, I left out one detail. Left out one particular detail. Not only is it like the Egyptian mythology aspect and like the desire to gain knowledge, but the desire to gain knowledge is tied into my greed. I'm greedy. I want to know everything and all things about all people. I want to know as much as I can about people and the world as to whatever degree that I can, because I think that's really important. I don't like feeling stupid, so I want to just know as much as I can, and I love trying to understand people better, which is why I decided to do a podcast, because it kind of all comes full circle, you know.
I really, I feel that on a molecular level. I hate feeling incompetent, and so, like, I research everything even if it's minute, before I do anything, really.
Yeah. I totally feel that. Like, I vibe on that for 100%. So, yeah, that's kind of that was kind of long-winded, but yeah, that's
No.
Yeah.
That was perfect.
Oh.
I also have a background in psychology.
Oh, sick. That's great. Yeah, I wish that I had like actual like training in psychology, but I'm what they call an armchair psychologist, but not really, because my ability to piece things together and to connect the dots to help people like solve their issues and to obviously solve my own issues at times is pretty, like, I've been able to do this for my entire life. Like, I've been giving advice to people for the majority of my life. So like, though I have no formal study training in psychology, like, my ability to kind of perceive things and understand people and ultimately gain data about them to help them solve their issues or to guide them in a certain direction is something I've been doing for a very long time. So, yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
Sick. Love to hear that. So yeah, like, so what is your favorite genre of dance? I know we're kind of like, we just like went from that to something else, but
Yeah, we're like,
yeah.
we're all over the place.
Yeah, we are grooving along the road to this podcast, and it's an experience. It's a journey. So, but you know,
it's a great ride.
yeah, I'm glad you're enjoying it. I am too. But but yeah, so what genre of music do you like to dance to?
I like dancing to music that has complex offbeats, because it's easy to kind of move and sway with something that's like, like a 2/4/4 timing or the same repetitive timings, but things that have like super dynamic timing and is really hard to dance to, is really challenging to express. That's what I like to dance to the most. Just because it's so challenging to do. But then when you nail it and you're like, man, I'm hitting every offbeat and I know when I can anticipate the crescendo, like it's incredible. It's such a great feeling.
Absolutely. Yeah. I definitely very much agree with that. I feel that. So there's no specific genre. It's simply like, it's music that has complex layers to it. And that can be anything, ultimately. Okay.
Anything, yeah. It's not bound by a genre.
Nice. Okay. I see. So you are no, I was gonna ask another question, but like we'll talk about that later. We'll talk about that later. I wanna figure out what's going on in that brain of yours to a deeper degree. Yeah, I wanna know. So, but we'll talk about that later on. So, I guess what did you use any sort of like tutorials, or did you like when you taught yourself how to dance? Did you use any tutorials? Did you you probably observed like other people, I imagine, and took like you said you learned how to do the heel toe. So were you just kind of like taking like bits and pieces from like other experienced dancers or people that you thought were like quality purveyors of bodily expression, or did you just did you just kind of find your own style through trial and error? What was that like for you?
A little bit of both, because you can watch a ton of YouTube videos but still not have any coordination. So coordination and timing is something you really need to work on, or I needed to work on in this case, and making sure like what I wanted my body to do is actually doing that. And then I watched videos on how to make it better, and then I practiced in VRChat to make sure that it translated well in VRChat. So there's several different layers to it. There's like a build and a test phase for like everything.
Yeah.
But essentially everything that I've learned, that's how I've incrementally learned, and the more I do it, the faster and more efficient I get at it, to where like just like with listening to music, you can tell what the note is by listening to it. It's become inherent like that. So when I see somebody do that, my body can basically do that.
I see. Okay. Interesting. So did you just kind of, when you learned, did you just kind of jump into dancing in VRChat, or like, I imagine you practiced a lot by yourself?
When I first thought about, when the first thought came about, like, I want to be better at this, it was when I was dancing in VRChat. Like, there would be certain songs that were played that were like, I wish I could convey something better. And I wish I had the tool set to do that. And so then I practiced on my own. Like, I would take that song, I would like save it, and I would listen to it and study it, and then learn how to express it, and then make it more translatable to other songs too, so it wasn't just to like a specific song, right? Because what's the point of dancing if you can only dance to one song?
True, yeah. Hey there, Nepherti here. Twitch continues to be super sus, and YouTube continues to smack me with copyrights on all the music that I play on my streams. So you know what? I'm really, really excited and super fucking nervous to finally be launching my Patreon at patreon.com/Nepherti. What is Patreon? It's a way for you to subscribe and support me with custom rewards that I came up with myself. Basically, it's there for you, and I come up with it just for you. So starting at $1, you can subscribe to me for starting just $1. Just $1. Really, really simple. And there are 4 tiers currently. There is the head pat tier, there is the snuggle tier, the huggle tier, and the snuggle tier. And obviously, as you go further down the line, the tiers get higher and higher, but the rewards, I think, get sweeter and sweeter. So I just want to let you all know that this is a thing that I've actually launched. I'm really, really excited to do it, and I'm hoping that you guys will be willing to support me, and I'm really, really grateful to all the support that I've gotten. If you want to know the details of why I am doing a Patreon, you can find that out at the About section on the Patreon page itself. You can read that all in detail if you want to know the full-on details. I didn't want to bore you guys with the details. That's just not relevant. But I want to let you all know that this is here and that it's there for you. So let me know your thoughts about the rewards. Please check them out. If things go well, I'll be adding another reward for most of the tiers. I already have something in mind to add on if things seem to be going really well. And I might even add another tier. Things get super, super out of control. I may even add another tier, which I haven't really considered, but I definitely have wanted to add another tier if things go super, super well. So at the end of the day, what I do depends on you guys. So whether you can or can't afford to support me, I really am always, always grateful so much for you even watching this in the first place, for you liking, commenting, subscribing on YouTube, and enjoying my free content that I put out free of charge for everyone to enjoy. So once again, that is patreon.com/Nepherti, and I am really excited of what we can hopefully build together. Looking forward to seeing you there. Bye.
So it all started with VRChat. So I got into VRChat and I would listen to other people's music and I was like, I wish I could, groove to this a lot better. And so like that's how I started learning how to do that.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. That totally makes sense to me. Yeah.
What about you?
Oh, what? How did I learn how to dance?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I've it all started with Dance Dance Revolution. It's a great game.
I love that game.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. I played it for a good portion of my youth. I could probably get on a mat right now and still play Dance Dance Revolution pretty well on a pretty high level if I wanted to. And but yeah, like from there, it really was just kind of like trial and error, really, for me. Like just like you, I've always had a musical ear. I used to sing in high school, and I sang in elementary school. I sang in college, so I've always had a music.
Me too. Mm-hmm.
Oh, cool, nice. So like I've always had a musical ear for things. And basically, like I would go to a lot of my dancing practice would just kind of be like in my own room or like when I'm like getting out of the shower type of thing. Cause like I usually have like some sort of music in my head or in my literally like in like earbuds or something when I'm taking a shower or whatever. So like I too am very connected to music in that regard. But as for actually dancing, I did a lot of my experiences were done in anime conventions. I would very frequently go to anime conventions, I would just see friends. A big fan of anime, so I would go and hang out with people, and I would go.
Awesome.
I would always go to the raves. I would always go
Hell
to the
yeah.
raves with either by myself or with my friend. Like he's always been gymnastics oriented, so he will be doing like flips and stuff. And I've always just been the type of person who's just been like I can listen to the first few bars of a song and understand how it flows immediately, and I can anticipate the flow of the music based on what I've already heard in the song. And when I'm surprised,
Yeah, absolutely.
That's interesting to me when like something happens unexpectedly. But like it's to the point where I can like listen to a song, and because I've heard so many songs and I've paid attention to them so well, that I know when a song is going to change. Like if it's doing like the same thing for like four bars, I know that either after 4 bars, if it doesn't happen after 4 bars, it's going to change after 6 bars. It's either 4 or 6. So yeah, I always kind of I can anticipate it in that regard. Yeah. So
And that's why I try to find music that doesn't fit that kind of like uniformity, because it's a lot harder to anticipate.
Yeah. I like the idea of being surprised when I'm dancing, and it's it can be kind of like frustrating at times when it does happen, but it's just like, oh wow, that it did something I didn't expect, and like that's like the beauty of music.
Mm-hmm.
That is kind of the beauty of music.
Absolutely.
So I just trial and error, going to raves, and just really loving music and just finding ways to like express myself. And I still feel like I'm flailing around sometimes, but yeah, I really
Yeah, me too.
yeah, but like I know that I'm doing things that people typically don't do. Like, and I know that my body can move in ways that some people's body can't. And that's really my goal. My goal is always to see what my body can do. Without hurting myself, obviously. But, you know, but I always just like the challenge of seeing like what my body can do, or if I see someone do something, like I want to like give myself like the opportunity to try it. So, yeah. Yeah, that's basically
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's my story. But yeah, I'm glad you asked that. But yeah. So yeah, dancing. I love dancing. Like I even had an idea for I had an idea for like a dance story that I wanted to write. I wanted to write a story that was based around like creating a rhythm game. And yeah, I'm not gonna tell the details of it, but I wanted to create a story based around a rhythm game that I would create, and yeah, it would be like
That's a really cool idea.
yeah, I feel like it would be like very like shonen, very shonen seinen,
Mm-hmm.
type stuff, which yeah, I'm into that sort of thing. So yeah. I'll probably never actually do it though, because time and all that. If I had all the time in the world, though, I would probably do it. But I've kind of shifted my interest to creating to being a streamer and VRChat and stuff. So yeah,
Yeah, we're here now. Yeah.
yeah. So let me see. I wanted to ask you about like what did you let me see. Yeah, it is challenging to not have a script, but it is what it is. Let's see. Cuz you had said something
I can
earlier.
talk about my background with psychology if you want.
Hey, go right ahead.
Yeah.
I love that. Mhm.
So my first job was in behavioral management.
Okay, nice.
So, individuals that had complications, and they usually had like really bad transgressions, were in a behavioral management program. And then that translated into me being the supervisor for a facility for the criminally insane for several years. And that was really interesting.
I would imagine so, yeah.
You learn a lot about the human condition and patience, most of all, because those individuals had spent, they had done terrible things, and they were doing 25 to life, and they had done their 25, and they went to my facility to be reintegrated into society. So when these individuals came in, I would read these documents that were like, several phone books stacked on top of each other, like size, of all of the things that they've done, reported things that they had done, and the tragedy in their lives, and things of that nature. And I would have to sit before a judge every month, and they would ask, are these individuals fit to go back into society? And I would have to say yes or no. But I found that what most people want is just to be treated like a human, They just want to be treated like a normal person,
Absolutely. Yeah.
So that's my background with psychology.
Yeah, that's actually that's a very like that's the kind of stuff, like human behavior is something that I observe a lot. I love observing how humans do things, and I want to know why humans do things. I'm constantly assessing my own psychology as to like why I just do certain things and why I respond certain ways and why people do certain things. I think that is core to understanding people in general. That's core to really treating people like humans. Like if you can understand a person and be able to convey to an individual what they're feeling and why they might be feeling that way, I say this a lot, but I say like that's really meaningful to a lot of people, to be understood, to be heard,
Yeah.
to be understood.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and honestly, like that's another part of the reason why I started doing this podcast. I wanted to give people a chance to be heard, and for me to have a chance to understand them better, and for other people to understand them better, and to hopefully take these podcasts and use them as a way to hopefully improve their own life through the experiences and the stories of people who are in VRChat, who may be struggling just like they are. I think that's really, really important. One of the first things that I noticed in VRChat when I first started was that a lot of people on this platform are really, really starved for attention. And I mean that in the best possible way. Like, there are people who are just exceedingly lonely, exceedingly introverted, and they don't know how to express themselves in a way that is meaningful to them. And they come to VRChat to get away from that feeling that they kind of carry over with them from real life, and they try to like express themselves in a way that they can here, and in a space that's, you know, less, I guess, you know, in a lot of ways less dangerous, less consequential.
Absolutely, yeah.
For them. But I definitely noticed very, very early on that a lot of people in VRChat just want to be understood. And it's very rare that people in VRChat have like heart-to-hearts, like actually seeking to understand people, to understand each other.
I know.
Everything is so surface level in a lot of ways on this platform. And I'm like, I see this, and I want to change that. I want people to feel like there are people that they can that understand them, people that get them, and to give people a voice, because, you know, it's rough out there. It's like life in a lot of ways is very hard for a lot of people. So like that's why I'm here. And like, that's why, like, I'm glad people like you are here. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. I finished my thought. Go ahead.
I find that a lot of people, and it's expounded inside of VRChat too. A lot of people like to talk, but not a lot of people know or want to listen.
Yeah. That's something that I really, really observed, and I wasn't a fan of it. But I know it's hard for a lot of people. It's very, very difficult for a lot of people. A lot of people have, like, social anxiety is like a real fucking thing. Like, the majority of people on this platform have serious social anxiety. It's real, and like I hope to have a lot more people who go through that, so they can like share their stories about like how they deal with that, how they overcome that sort of thing, and just to give voice to their personal experience. So like many people on this platform really deal with that sort of thing. It's rough, and yeah, I think it's very much it's really, really wonderful to like be able to have conversations with people, and to like, you know, to share their stories with whomever will end up watching this in the future. I have no idea who will end up watching this, but I hope that someone, you know, can gain something from it. Yeah. I'm hoping. I'm certainly hoping. But like, do you deal with anything? Like, do you have any like any things, any psychological matters that you kind of go through, or and even if you don't, how did that experience in handling up behavioral those behavioral situations in those prison situations, how did that change you? Like, how did that affect you?
Well, it was very eye-opening, but it was also very hard to separate from, right? So, for instance, like if I was just working a 9 to 5 or a normal like clock in, clock out kind of job, which I've never really worked before. I've always had like jobs that take a lot of investment, whether emotional or physical or whatever. And so for that job in particular, it was very hard to separate from. It's very hard to read someone's entire history and the terrible things that they did and then go home and just be normal. And then as a supervisor, these are people, your job is these people's lives, and as long as they are alive, your job keeps going and it keeps evolving, it keeps changing, you know? So you learn a lot of patience through it, and you learn a lot of understanding and compassion through it as well, which is something that I think is lacking in the world, if I'm going to be honest. And that's partly why I am this way. That's why I talk this way. That's why I look this way. That's how I want to be seen this way. I wanted to be somebody that was easily approachable.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel that.
But in regards to your question about like some of the things that I've gone through, I have chronic depression, and I've had chronic depression probably my entire life. I was diagnosed with it in 2019, but, you know, I just thought it was normal, you know?
Yeah. I think a lot of people
have chronic
have heard that.
depression, yeah.
Like a lot of people don't really know that, like, that's just something that it's just their usual mode of being. And then when they're like when they're diagnosed, it's just like, oh, well, does anything change? Like, did the diagnosis change anything for you?
No, because at that point I had already kind of analyzed myself for so long, for so many years. I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. I basically have an existential crisis every day, and I have like panic attacks every day. But it was weird to diagnose, I think, for individuals, because I already knew what was happening, because I had already seen it in other people, and I already knew what the clues were. It wasn't until I was losing control of it that I actually saw somebody, and then I said, I can no longer, I'm too beaten down to continue this, and I need help fighting back, you know? And that was, you know, that was just recently.
Yeah.
Or 2019, yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, like that can definitely that's it seems like it was life-changing in a lot of ways, to kind of like come to terms with what that is and what you're combating. And like once it got to a point where it was just like it was interfering with like your daily life, that's when it was just like, yo, I gotta see somebody about this. Yeah. Like
yeah.
If you don't mind talking about it for a little bit, like, is it like, can you describe like what the experience of like having like chronic depression is like, or like even like if like how that affects you, and like I guess how you deal with it, if that's not too much.
Yeah, no, that's not too much. So when I was first diagnosed with it, I wanted to figure out what it was inherently that was causing it. And there's a lot of different reasons why it might possibly happen for different people. It's not so defined to just like, you know, like smallpox or something. But, you know, outside of not having like a great childhood, my brain doesn't produce any serotonin, or very little. And so whenever I accomplish something, it never feels like I accomplish anything. I don't have the task and reward that most people have when they do something.
The dopamine hit.
So
from like completing it.
yeah, and so I'm never really satisfied with anything. I'm never really satisfied with myself. I never really feel like that's a tough one to explain. I never really feel like I'm achieving anything good. I never really get that sense of satisfaction of achieving something once it's completed. I'm always just looking at the next thing to complete. And what happens over time is you start to substitute those things with work, and then you lose your personality and you lose who you are, essentially. Like, someone would ask me, what do you like to do for fun? And I would say, no, I just work.
Yeah.
And so when that happens, you kind of go into like this existential type of crisis, and those things get very cyclic. They spin into each other over and over and over again, and then ultimately you just feel like, why am I in so much anguish if I'm not achieving anything? Like, what is it for? And in that respect, you don't want to exist, and you go through that every day, and that's kind of what chronic depression is like.
I see. Yeah, I like that. You painted a very, very clear picture of that, and I would like to know, like, so after understanding that about yourself, like, where did you go from there? Like, how did you move to combat that, like, in a way that's hopefully, helpful to you and can help you at least, move forward in your life and do what you do?
I have to take a very analytical perspective on it. Understanding what's happening chemically helps me a lot with rationalizing why it is that I feel the way that I do.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily that I'm worthless or I don't mean anything. It's just that my brain lacks the chemical to tell me that I'm doing something good. So that helps me rationalize that perspective is so important. Perspective is huge.
Yes.
And you need to get someone else's perspective and not be in your head so much, but you also need to understand what's happening in your brain because nobody else can. And so if you can, help people, help you, strength of the pack, then you can overcome anything, really. And that's what I use to get me through day to day.
So it's the affirmation of the pack, of people telling you that you've done something valuable, that you've done something important, to give you, to kind of fill in the gap for what you can't produce on your own, which gets you out of your head, which gives you meaning, I would say.
Well, I think of it more of like like fire. Like, you can tell that fire is hot by the effect that it has on its surroundings. So what you do, if you observe its impact, like, that should be enough to trigger something that's saying that you have an impact and you have done something.
Right.
Not so much like words, because words can be, whatever, but it's what you do, it's what I do that really makes a difference, and what kind of impact it makes. So it's affirmation through action, I suppose. Yeah.
So, like, were you not receiving that before? Because, like, I imagine, like, you surrounded yourself by, like, people who, like, admired what you did and your creative spark and the things that you've taught yourself. Like, so like, is that like a recent development that you've been able to kind of get there, or is it because of your getting the information to perceive that in a clear-cut way now, now you're able to kind of like actively perceive those things and have those experiences with the people around you?
Yeah, it's the impact that I have on those around me that I really take into consideration. Like I said, because words are cheap. You know, anybody can
True.
say them. Anybody
Yes.
can say you're sorry, but if you don't do anything, then it doesn't mean anything. Or you can say I love somebody, but if you don't show that, it doesn't mean anything.
Agreed.
So it's just one of those things where people have allowed me, thankfully, and this community has allowed me to be impactful or valuable in some way. And that is enough for me to know that I'm doing something good.
I see. So what would be...
And
Oh,
one
go
of the most important things... Oh,
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
One of the most important... One of the most important things about suffering from any type of mental illness is just to know that you aren't alone. That is so huge.
True.
Because the struggle is in your head, you know, and in that way you can feel alone, but it just takes, you know, a little bit of something, like somebody checking in on you or spending time on you or whatever it is, to let you know that you're not alone, that can save somebody's life. And I know because it saved mine.
Yeah. That is very, very powerful stuff. I think I'm sure there are many people who needed to hear that, and like I really do appreciate you being willing to like share that. That's very, very personal and very, very. I think it's important to be able to kind of conceptualize these ideas and like these real experiences that people have, and be able to translate that into something that's actionable and something that people can really use in their own lives. I think that's very important. It's very, very valuable, and I'm glad that you're willing to talk about that. So thank you so much for that, Amon. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good soup, like Alpha would say.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, good soup.
Truly good soup. Absolutely. So let's talk a little bit about your love life. I think we've gotten far enough in. Far enough in. I gotta do it. I do it for everybody. I do it for everybody. So,
Yeah.
can you tell me, what do you look for in a partner?
Well, it's pretty multifaceted, right?
Yeah,
Sometimes you don't know you want things or need things until you get them.
I agree. Yeah. Well, I guess from like a values perspective.
Typically.
Yeah.
Somebody that's independent is pretty big. Somebody that has dreams and desires and passion. Passion is super attractive.
Agreed. 100%.
I am very, very attracted to the mind. I love personality before I love I like the physicality. And so a beautiful mind is something that I look for in a partner.
I love that. I absolutely love that. Yeah. I definitely can relate to that. Like, I mean, I'm not gonna get into my thing. I'm not getting into my stuff. I'm not gonna rant about it. Unless you want to know. Okay. I'm not gonna get into it. It is. But it's about this is about you, not about me and like my desires or anything. I mean, I just took a BDSM test last night. You guys know everything about my desires at this point. So There's nothing that you guys don't know that isn't already out
Yeah.
there. But I mean, like,
Ropes, huh?
yeah, I know. But yeah, I mean, for me, like like I'm pretty selfish. Like the physical does matter to me, but if I can't, it doesn't matter to me to the degree that like if I can't get with you on like a mental level, if we can't communicate on like an actual like psychological mental, like we can't have a conversation about a certain topic to a degree that's actually meaningful and we actually kind of like exchange ideas, yeah, that's a no-go for me. That's instant no-go. And then like once you get that, once you get that mental connection with somebody, if the physical doesn't line up enough, then I'm also like, well, sorry, but like I have notoriously, like I haven't told this story on stream before, but I'll tell you, I'll talk about it. But I basically was being courted by literally a person who makes six figures, and I was being courted by this person for like a number of years, like off and on or whatever. And like they're really cool. I had a great time with them, very, very funny, enjoy their company. And then when it came down to them like admitting that they like had feelings for me, I'm just like, you're too chubby for me, I'm sorry. Like, yeah. So like I literally turned down a person who made six figures because I didn't like how they looked. Despite them having everything else.
Ultimately, that's kind of
yeah, I'm pretty selfish.
That's kind of a reflection on how you like yourself, you know?
Yeah, I mean,
like how you are. There are certain things that can change. I mean, people are born the way they're born. They can't really help that, you know.
That is true. Which is why you know it's not all about physicality. It's really not. But I would be lying if I said it didn't matter like a whole lot to me. But obviously, like I'm always assessing the mind first. I always assess the mind first, and then after that, everything else kind of comes later after that. But you know, like I totally understand that there's just some things that are like immutable about some people. But you know, for me, it's like, can I imagine waking up next to you? Like, would I feel comfortable waking up next to you, like in the morning every day?
Mm-hmm.
And if I can't see that, then for me, it's just like, that's like I don't want to be like, I don't want to feel that. I don't want to feel like out of place.
Yeah.
Cause like, I'll like, no one has to call me selfish because I'll do it myself. I know that I am. But I love myself enough to have standards. I have my personal desires and things that I look for in a person. But, you know, and, you know, like, at the end of the day, like, no one's gonna love me more than me, in any case. So, like, I think that's important for anybody. I think people should love themselves and be able to love themselves more than anyone else could. Because, you know, like, we all want relationships. We all desire that connection with people. And, you know, we can get that connection in many, many ways, in different ways. It doesn't have to be romantic. But, like, if you're seriously thinking about spending the rest of, like, if you really want to build something long-term with somebody, you have to consider those things. I mean, to me at least. Like, what do you think?
Yeah. What if that individual is like, you know what? You're right. Like, you deserve somebody like that. And they went and they hit the gym every day and they got like super fit and they came back and they were like, I'm happier with myself now and I want to know if you find that attractive.
100%. I'd be on board. Literally they would have been the perfect match for me if they just took better care of themselves physically. So yeah, I would have 100% jumped on board. That would have been easy.
Yeah, that makes sense. Mm-hmm.
Easy win. And it's not even about the six figures.
Easy clap, yeah.
Not even about the six figures. It's simply about them as an individual, about them as a person. And like, I would have 100% been on board. So, but you know, sometimes you just gotta have your standards. You gotta have your standards. Yeah. So, but as for
To me,
oh yeah, go ahead.
yeah, go ahead.
Oh,
Sorry.
yeah.
Time is time is super huge to me. Like anybody that knows me, they know that I value time over everything. Just because I've seen people that have their whole lives ahead of them, they have 6 figures, they have a family, they have whatever, and they're gone the next day.
Yeah.
And that's just something you'll never ever get back. And so I value that very, very, very highly. So somebody that just spends a little time on me, like, I mean, that's it. You got me.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that standard. Like for me, like time, like I don't think a lot of people understand this. Like I don't think a lot of younger people understand this idea. But like time, like when you're young, you feel like you have all the time in the world. But then you get older, you live your life, you have different experiences, you encounter different people, and you come to understand that like you don't have as much time as you used to. You have responsibilities, you have obligations. And your time, in my opinion, always is more valuable. Like time is super, super valuable. And how I spend my time is super, super valuable. Like, and like I agree with you. Like being able to having someone that's willing to spend time with you and being able to contribute some of their time, that's invaluable. That's totally like, you can't replace that. And like
no, you can't.
yeah, it's definitely very important. I would 100% agree with you there. And like I would definitely want to do the same. I want to be the type of person that's able to spend time with the person and not feel like I'm losing anything. So, like...
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so, like...
Or you're not wasting it, yeah.
Right, yeah. I want to freely give that time over because I really... Like, I want to freely give that time over and I want to feel comfortable giving that time over to someone. That really just means a lot to me. So, like, that could be friends, that could be a lover, it doesn't matter. It just, like... my time is extremely valuable to me. So, someone who's willing to give that to me is, I'm very, very grateful for that. And I do my best to do that just the same. Yeah.
I find it super unfortunate that I use the analogy that, they stick their hand in the fire to know that it's hot. They can't see the impact that it has around it and say, okay, well, that's hot, I don't want to do that. And this runs parallel with that. It's a lot of people don't know what they have until it's gone, and time is one of those things.
Yeah, that was something I think like you and I have like experienced this at some point in our lives. It's the idea of like you have something and then maybe you take a step away from it, or a person, or a step away from a person, and you just like it never feels the same. It doesn't feel the same, but it's just like you wish you had more time. You wish you had spent more time. And
wishing never brings back time.
Exactly. So it's best. I think we can both agree that like it's best to really spend the time as if it's the only thing you have left. Like if it's
absolutely,
spend your time with meaning and purpose as if it's the last hours you have left, and don't regret it. So
yeah, don't ever take it for granted.
Yeah, 100%. So time for you and time and a beautiful mind. And is that anything else? Is there anything else?
Yeah, I'd say everything else is just a bonus, yeah.
Totally fair. Totally fair. Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess what would be your ideal date? What would be an ideal date? What would be like for you? How would you like to experience like a time with someone, with just anyone? Like, what would that look like for you?
Well, I'm not very big on, like, materialistic things at all. So, like, the setting just has to be comfortable, really. But somewhere quiet where we can have, like, an actual deep, meaningful conversation and learn about each other and understand each other. Like, that would be my ideal date. Mm-hmm.
Nice. I like that. Yeah. That is my mode of being also. I love the one-on-ones. I mean, obviously. Like, I get to have one with you. That's really nice. I love having those one-on-one experiences. That's like being able to just kind of sit somewhere comfortable in like in a nice
Mm-hmm.
cozy space. Nothing, like, phones are off. No interruptions. It's just
Right.
it's
Yeah,
just me and the other person. Yeah, that sort of thing, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. Mm-hmm.
I love that a lot too. That's pretty great. I'm glad that we're on the same page there. Would you consider yourself an introvert?
Yeah. mm, yeah, I would say so. I'm more big on listening than I am speaking. I mean, I choose my words very carefully, because I want them to have some meaning when I say them. I don't just want them to be hot air coming out of my face. So, but I tend to listen a lot more than I do speak. And I tend to deal with things internally than I do externally, yeah.
Cool. Very, very cool. All very interesting little tidbits about you. And let's see.
Amon tidbits.
Yes, indeed. like the little things that many people don't know. I know you said you're not into material things very much. So if you're not into material things, what, like, for you, what would be the ideal expression of affection for you? Like, what could someone do that, I guess, that basically, like, that would make your day, and even bring you to tears, like just, like, I guess the ideal, like, expression of affection, the ideal, like, I want to say gift, but I don't want to make it a material thing, but it would be akin to, like, giving a gift of sorts. Yeah.
I think knowing that an individual doesn't have very much time and they choose to spend it, like, talking to me to see how I'm doing is, like, it's so flattering to me. Like, it's the biggest form of flattery to me. That would be the ideal gift, yeah.
Yeah, and that's the gift that keeps on giving, or could be the gift that keeps on giving, depending on the person. Yeah. Nice. Okay. Wow. Yeah, I can definitely relate to that. That's I think people maybe underestimate the potential of, just checking in on somebody, just, seeing that if they're okay. And, like, I'm very guilty of not really doing this a whole lot. I try to with as many people as I can, but I know that I'm definitely an introvert, and again, my time is very important to me. So it's not that, like, I don't want to or don't think about a person. It's just, I have to choose how I spend my time. But yeah, like, honestly, like, having someone, like, check in with you and see how you're doing and want to, like, talk to you. I think that's really, really nice. That really
Yeah.
that really can say a lot and mean a lot to people for sure.
And I think oftentimes people try to substitute that with other things, and I think that's a lot of times why relationships don't work out. They're like, yeah, I missed the date or whatever, but I'll buy you something so you'll be fine.
Right.
Those things that you buy, they go. You know, they don't really mean anything.
Yeah, the material stuff goes away. It's the memories and the time and like the things that that stay with you, that can't be taken away. That's very, very valuable.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Very, very nice. Cool. So, let's see. Do you have any advice? Because do you have any, I guess, suggestions for anyone who may be, looking for a relationship, or maybe, trying to like build something with someone, like based on your own personal experiences? Do you have anything that's maybe worked for you, and something that you can suggest for other people who may be maybe trying to shoot their shot, as it were, to like put it bluntly?
Yeah, I think it's very, like, for some reason it's super detrimental to people when they get turned down. But the idea is you only really have control over yourself. That's it. That's the reality of it. And if you let somebody else, if you hand somebody your emotional control, you've lost all your control. And so an important thing to understand is, like, when you get turned down or something doesn't work out like you want to in a relationship, all you can really do is be understanding, but you can't try to control somebody else or make them feel a certain way towards you. Like, it's out of your control. You can't do anything about it. And so just let it go. I know it's harder to do than say, but it's just let it go. Like the movie.
Yeah. Like the movie everyone knows and probably didn't see, but knows it anyway. Yeah. Yes, yeah. I'm not even gonna feed that meme, but you all know. I don't have to say anything. You all are well aware. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, like I would agree with that. I would agree with that line of advice. It's tough. Like the whole enterprise of being or like pursuing a relationship with someone is extremely. It takes a lot. It takes a lot of time. It's very, very tiring. It can be very, very like. It can be very time consuming, and ultimately may not lead anywhere. It may not go anywhere. It may not be what you thought that it was. And, it is very important to, like I said earlier, love yourself more than anyone else could. So, like, if you do find yourself attracted to someone and you're doing your best to, like, trying to get to know them and spend time with them and hoping that maybe, just maybe, something will come together. If it doesn't, if you are able to love yourself and understand that, it may not be you, it may be them, it could be you and them. That's just not jiving. But at the end of the day, you can still move forward. You can still continue to live your life. It's not the end of things. It's just you hopefully you spent your time in the way that was meaningful to you. And even if it didn't come together the way that you had planned it to be, at least it was time that you chose to spend the way that you wanted. And I think that's very, very important.
Absolutely, yeah.
For anyone's mental health. It's like it's very important to just like be your own person. Don't place your entire self into another person. Like, that is the worst thing that you can do. Always take care of yourself. But if you are so lucky to be with somebody or have a relationship with somebody, then, you know, obviously
Yeah.
look after them and make sure that they're taken care of.
I think it's the
yeah.
Yeah, it's the whole dynamic between want and need, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I really want to be in a relationship with this person. Yes, but do you need it?
Right.
Probably not.
Yeah, and you should never need a relationship. Like that's also really dangerous too. Which I think people confuse that, and that's a really good point. Yeah, that's a very, very good point. Like, never need to be with somebody. Like, always keep it to like a very healthy. I would like to. It would be nice to be, but if it doesn't work out, it's not the end of my world. Kind of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely can agree with that. Huh. I think that may be all that I have in terms of those kinds of questions. I think, but
Yeah.
I guess. How would you want your lover to remember you?
Good question. Well, obviously, if you're in a relationship with somebody, you want them to look upon you fondly, right? You never want to want them to look back and say, wow, I really regretted that.
yeah, for sure.
I guess the only thing I can really ask for is that I change their life for the better in some aspect, whether it's learning something or feeling complete. So yeah, it would be that. I don't know if that answered your question. I'm sorry, I kind of got a little philosophy.
Hey, no, no, you're fine. You're fine.
Philosophy in there, but like, yeah. But yeah. If I was impactful in any way, like, if your life was better when I was in it, that's what I would want them to remember.
So you would I guess you'd want them to remember the impact that they left, that you left on them. And
Yeah,
you would
and
hope that
hopefully it's good. I mean,
Yeah.
holy moly.
yeah, hopefully it's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that definitely would be the best. That would be ideal for any relationship for sure. So I want to dive into your psychology a little bit more. So what do you think is the reason behind you being so self-sufficient in terms of, or I guess self-driven? Like, where do you think that drive comes from, and has it always been something that you've had your entire life?
Yeah, I was, I can't doubt that it was instilled in me as a kid, you know? So it's always been fend for yourself, really. But like I said, it has to do with control. Like, if you disseminate everything you want to other people, then you're leaving all your control in other people's hands. And I would rather be in control of my own destiny. And if I want to learn something, I want to do something, that's up to me. I can't make somebody make me do something, you know? Like, make somebody make me learn something or have that drive. I have to develop it myself. And sometimes it's hard, you know? I'm not gonna lie, it's hard to have drive sometimes. But that is my motivation for being independent, is because I have only control over myself. That's what I should be focused on.
So it's the idea of not putting the control in your life in someone else's hands. It's maintaining that sense of
Yeah.
you know, this is my project. This is something that I want, and no one else is going to get this for me, except for me. And I don't want to rely on anyone else to get this for me, because I want to be. If I don't get this, I want it to only be my fault, type of thing.
Right. Exactly.
So this idea of control, how do you understand that? Like, is control something that you think is important to have? I mean, clearly it's something that you find important and valuable, but do you think that having too much control and maybe like that control can be deemed as, I don't know, selfish in some ways, or like be used as like a negative against you, because like you're not asking other people for help, you're leaning only on yourself? I guess how do you understand like the idea of control, like, in your life?
It's mostly as just a general principle. It's a foundational principle of understanding. You know, if I rely on somebody and they're unreliable, I can't control that. And so that's happened too many times, really, but
Yeah.
one time is too many times, but then just having the understanding that, you know, it's in my control the entire time to like execute this thing, then that's how I understand it. Because like physically, that's all I really have. That's all we have, you know. You can influence other people. You can, you know, suggest things to other people and you know, be passionate about things and have followers or whatever. You can have an impact on people, but you only have control over yourself, and you really don't want to lose that.
Yeah. And so this is something, so this perception is something you've always had your entire life. You said it was probably instilled to you as a child. I mean, can you talk a little bit about that? Like I mean, like has it evolved since then? Like was it seen as something different when you were younger, and now is it something more now that you're older and have a better understanding of yourself now?
Yeah, I think I have a better understanding of its complexity, because it's not just about like how you feel, it's also about understanding how it intertwines with everything. So from like an early age, like you want your parents to always be around, but you can't control that. And you know, you want things to be a certain way, but you can't control that. And so those things just happen. How you analyze it is how you move forward. And so, you know, throughout life, it's just been like a continuous kind of like, well, there's a lot of disappointment involved. I'm just going to be honest with you.
Okay. Yeah.
Because, I get disappointed when I, you know, I let myself be controlled by somebody else's emotions. Because if I'm trying to finish something, but I can't because I'm letting somebody else like control my emotions, like they're not like they're probably not even worried about me. They may not even know I exist, but it's like, that's totally affecting my life, you know, and that's not fair. I can't allow that to happen.
Right.
If that happened with everything, then I wouldn't get anything done. I wouldn't progress. I wouldn't be better. You know, I would lose my control. And so over the years since I was a kid, that's just been a reoccurring type of principle. And that's how I get over things most people like cling to emotionally is, you know, say the passing of a loved one, like totally understandable to be in remorse. But you can't go back in time and you can't control it.
Right.
You know, all you can do is like control yourself. So, and that sort of like rationalizes trauma too. And also with depression and anxiety and things like that, it's just like a way for me to focus. You know, if I have all of these impending thoughts or all of these complications psychologically, I just focus on what is in my control and what's not. And the things that aren't in my control, I can worry about it later, but I can't change it right now. And so, yeah, that's just been kind of instilled in me since I was a kid. Because, like, I had to figure things out on my own. I was alone a lot. It was an abusive family. We didn't have any money. Like, there's a lot of negatives, right? But at least I know that I had myself, and that's what I could control. And regardless of the things that are happening around me, I can still press forward, and I can still move on.
Yeah, that's extremely powerful to have. Like, taking control of the aspects of your life, taking control of your personal life, and not worrying about the things that you can't control, that's empowering for I think for anybody. Like, I don't think enough people understand how important it is to not worry about the things that are outside of your control, because there are so many things that you will encounter, so many disappointments, so many like issues that exist in life that will try to drag you down, that'll try to distract you, and it really becomes it will become a battle of wits in that situation where you're unable to do the things that are important to you because you're too wrapped up in the things that you're trying to worry about, the things that you can't do anything about right now. And that's only serves as a distraction. That only serves to keep you away from focusing on the things that actually matter for you, progressing for yourself, you being a better version of yourself. And just then doing your best to take things in stride. Of course, you know, there are times where you're going to encounter difficult moments and it's going to be tough. But the best thing that I think anyone can do, like you said, is to focus on the things that you can control and leave the things that you can't control out of the picture. At least, you know, do what you can. But then once you've done what you can, let it be, because it's out of your hands.
Right.
So yeah, I agree with that way of living, and I think it's something that you have to be taught. Like, sometimes life is the best teacher. Sometimes you have to teach these things on your own. And you know, for a lot of people, including myself, life has been a very harsh teacher. You kind of have to just deal with things and move forward. Despite the failures, despite the disappointments, despite, you know, being put in uncomfortable situations that you may want to be out of. That's life. And we could only be so lucky to be able to overcome the things that were trying to drag us down and become a better version of ourselves, because we were still able to move forward through those difficult moments. And I think that's also I think that's also an important story. I think that's an important arc for any human to have. To be able to say, I had all of these shit things happen to me, all of these bad moments throughout my childhood into my teens, and when I became an adult, I learned how to become my own person. I learned how to see things in a way that I can value my time and be able to move forward and not allow the things that were holding me down in my past to rule over my life now. I can be my own person. I have control over the things that I've put myself in a position to have control over, and then everything else, I left it by the wayside. It is important to be able to say, like, I've overcome those trials. I've overcome those things that I couldn't control. Those moments where I was down, those moments where I lost something or someone that was important to me. I've become stronger and I've become a better person because I've overcome those moments in my life that were just really unfortunate. And yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, and that with that said, I do kind of want to, and this is kind of a double back. You said it was difficult for you to, well, I know, actually, correction. I don't know if you said it was difficult for you, but you mentioned that to do the job that you were doing in the past with the behavioral, what would you call it? I'm sorry.
It's behavioral management.
Behavioral management. Thank you. Doing that kind of work, and basically going home and you know, quote unquote, being normal. How did that line of work affect you? Did it affect you? Were you able to like, I guess, did it change you in any way? Did it make you better? Did it make you stronger? Did it make you more self-sufficient? I don't want to put words in your mouth, so yeah. Did that affect you?
I mean, it obviously affected me. You know, we're all byproducts of the experiences that we've had.
100%.
But I would say for the most part, it taught me a lot about being compassionate and being patient and really digesting what it was that people were saying. Not so much the words, you know, but what it was they were trying to convey. Because a lot of these individuals were just so wrapped up in like anxiety and anger, and some of them had speech impediments and stuff. And it's just, yeah, I gleaned a lot from working in that environment, and it actually helps me a lot with social interactions. It helped me a lot in the military. To be compassionate, understanding, you know, be able to digest what people are trying to say and actually listening. Because like you said, it takes a lot of mental fortitude to listen, digest, and respond. I find a lot of times when people are talking, they're only really listening to a little bit, but they're mostly computing what it is their response is going to be, and they miss the second half of what you're saying, really.
Right. Yeah, that's very common.
So, it takes a lot of mental fortitude to do that, and exercising that constantly, you know, day after day. And also providing perspective on somebody that's not in that situation and trying to describe that to individuals like a judge or like somebody that's never committed a serious crime was also something that it helped me with convey. So I would say, yeah, there's been a lot of benefits to it.
So it's helped you on many multiple layers of your communication skills and of, you know, just understanding people better, being able to listen to people, to the whole breadth of what someone is trying to convey to you, and like really listening. So it was a good tool. It was a good experience for you. It's not something that you regret at all.
Yeah. It's it's not for everybody. You know,
Of
like
course,
a lot of
yeah.
times, a lot of the people that I worked with, they had a hard time giving medications to a child predator every day and treating them like a human at the same time. And that's totally understandable. But yeah, it's not for everybody, but it did benefit me in some ways, yeah.
Great. And can you tell me, like, is there anything in your life that you've regret?
Is this the part where I say no regrets? I think it is, right? No regrets?
Yeah, right. Yeah. You could say that, yeah.
Honestly, no. Because to me, regretting things doesn't really have any value. You either learn from bad experiences or you don't. So even if it's not a great experience, there's still something of value to be learned, probably. And in that regard, I don't really have a regret going through that. And, you know, with spending time with people and them passing away and not being there, I know that's a big one for a lot of people. That's just another part of control. Like, I can regret it, but it doesn't change anything. I can be sad, but it doesn't change anything. You know, if regretting things actually changed something, I would regret all the time, but it doesn't really have any value to me. So I don't regret anything. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like, it's good to. I think it's relatively healthy. I think it's mentally healthy to be very, like, to understand that there are just some things that you just can't change. And I guess all that we can really do is do our best to spend the time in a way that is most meaningful. And, you know, we may wish for something or wish that we did something better or did something more, but yeah, there really is no. You're right. There is no value in wishing for that, because it is what it is. And now all that we can really do is
It is what it is.
Yeah, and just move forward. Just move forward. Be better. Be better. Learn from it. I think there's I've mentioned this in other podcasts, but I think people have forgotten that failure is a part of life. Failure has been a part of our lives since we were toddlers. We literally had to fail. You know, when we got up to walk. When we learned how to run, we learned how to, you know, maybe learn a new skill when we were like in single digits. We were failing repeatedly, just to do the basic things that we do every day now. And if we can remember that, if we can keep that in mind and let that be our guide to just learning from our mistakes and learning from the things that don't go our way, I think life gets a little bit easier to bear. Like, we make mistakes. There are things that we do that, you know, were probably not in the best interest, or maybe things happen to us that really fucking suck. But at the end of the day, you know, it's what we do with that experience and how we change and how we take action. That's what really matters. It's the action that comes after that really matters. How are we better? How are we made better from it? So, yeah, I think a lot of people, like, definitely need to, like, be reminded of that, like, very, very often. So I think it's so common for people to forget that, you know, failure is natural, and that's okay. We can always hopefully find a way forward, despite, you know, tripping and falling.
I usually say something that's, like, sarcastic to myself or out loud whenever I do something and I'm new at it. And it kind of puts things in perspective for me when I say it to myself. It's just like, oh, I've only been doing this for 5 minutes. Why am I not the best at it? That doesn't make any sense, right? So I shouldn't be so down on myself about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, it's unreasonable. It's unreasonable for everything to just be perfect the first time.
Right.
Though, you know, like
Right.
perfectionism, which runs in my blood, you know, got to get it right the first time, kind of thing.
Yeah. But then that comes down to control, right? Because if you trip in the beginning of the race, you don't want that to dictate how the rest of the race is going to go.
Right. Right.
You know?
It's what you do up
You
here.
still have to finish.
Yeah. Controlling the situation and continue to move forward despite tripping and falling. Like, you can either stop and give up or keep running. I like that. I like that metaphor a lot. You have a lot of solid metaphors. I need to be better at doing the metaphor thing.
Aww.
Yeah, my metaphor game is not nearly as good as yours, Amon, for sure. I could use a little bit more skill in that for sure. But like, I don't know, like, I'm pretty sure like the one's ability to use metaphors is indicative of their level of intelligence. It's their ability to kind of synthesize information and make it understandable for people who may not understand the concept. Metaphor is a way to, express an idea for people who may be outside of the bubble.
Absolutely.
So it's I think it's
absolutely.
Yeah, clearly I'm in the presence of a very intelligent person. Yep.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. I mean, the fact that I get to talk
We're just two smart people sitting on a couch.
I know.
Yeah, I mean, in VR, yeah.
Yeah. Like this clash of individuals it's this kind of thing in VRChat is like super uncommon. Like we're sitting here talking philosophy and psychology while there are literally people like ERPing because it's Friday night right now. It's fucking great. it's such a great contrast to be like self-aware of.
Great, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and everything in between,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but that is the beauty of VRChat. We get to use this platform for whatever we choose. And, as long as we're not breaking
Absolutely.
any rules and not affecting anybody in a negative way, it's fine. It's good. It's good.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Mm-hmm.
I agree 100%. So we're going to do, unless I can come up with something else, we're going to do a little bit of a lightning round of just kind of questions. I've tried this before, and I'm going to try it again and see how it goes. So, your favorite song currently? Favorite song currently?
Show Me How to Live by Audioslave.
Okay. Why is that your favorite song? I know I said lightning round, but I have to ask. I can't help but ask why.
Okay.
I can't fucking help it. I have to know. Why did you choose that song?
Your own rule.
I know.
You broke your own rule.
I know. I'm horrible, but I can't. I have to do it.
So Chris Cornell, who is the lead singer of Audioslave and also Soundgarden, they're such a huge influence on my life growing up, and it's because, he committed suicide a couple years ago around my birthday, but he was always able to convey things that were hard for me to convey or understand growing up, and even now. Like, he just put things in such a poetic way that when I listened to them, I knew that I wasn't alone. And Show Me How to Live is a song about reaching out to, a lot of the songs are like that, but that one in particular is just like reaching out frantically for meaning in life. And if someone else has like the idea on how to live, then show me. If you have it all figured out, then show me. Then why are you keeping it a secret if you know how to do it perfectly? And that's kind of why I like it right now. It's also an awesome song.
Yeah, just melodically speaking, but you know, there's also the philosophy behind it. Yeah, very cool. Very like I like that messaging. I like that messaging, and I'm guessing that's just how it's very relevant to you today. Like just
Yeah, absolutely.
nice.
Yeah, I mean, if anybody knows, do you know how to like
I'm not familiar with the song, no.
live perfectly?
Yeah.
Do you know how to live perfectly though? Can you show me how to live?
That is a hard question.
It's rhetorical. It's rhetorical.
Yeah. But yeah, I like the messaging behind that. It's I think people really do need to really find their reason, and figure out the best way for them to live well. Live without regrets. Take responsibility.
Yeah, no regrets. Yeah.
Yeah, no regrets. Yes. Yes. So, do you have a favorite show? It could be animated or otherwise. Favorite show currently. Let's keep it current.
My favorite show right now, because we haven't finished it, is Scrubs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm really invested in that show, and I've never seen it before.
Cool.
It's really, really good on multiple levels. It's really well written. There's a lot of really good messages in it, and the actors that play in it, they synergize really well on screen. It's just a great show. It's probably talked about quite a bit, but it's for good reason,
Yeah, I would agree. I've never seen Scrubs myself, but yeah, I've heard good things about it, and I've certainly heard a certain person sing its praises. So yeah, I'm sure it's a great show. I'll have to check it out sometime. That is the first time I've drank anything this entire talk. And yeah, I'm pretty dehydrated.
Oh no.
Yeah, I'm pretty stubborn when it comes to drinking things while I'm in interview mode. But yeah, that's great. It's great. So, next question. Actually, this may be a whole thing. I just remembered.
Okay.
I remember the one thing.
You're breaking your rule again.
I'm breaking my rule again.
It's a good thing you didn't make breaking rules a rule.
True. This is my podcast. I do what I want. So, you play fighting games.
I do, yeah.
And I need to talk to you about this.
Okay, yeah.
All right. So, yeah, I play fighting games too. And what do you play? Let's let people know. Let's let the people know what you play, what you're into.
Well, I really like Fighter Z, even though like I'm not super good at it. I'm a lot better with Street Fighter. I love Street Fighter, and I love Killer Instinct, which is a lot like Street Fighter. I played the new Guilty Gear and like the 2 other iterations of it. I Blaze Blue, Mortal Kombat. Yeah, Street Fighter's my jam though. I love Street Fighter.
Same. Yo, I grew up with that shit. I grew up with Street Fighter. That is also my jam. And yeah, like it's so cool that like that is the one thing that I'm so glad I didn't forget this. Holy shit. I've been wanting to talk to you about this for the longest time, and like we gotta play Street Fighter. We gotta play Street Fighter.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
The new one is coming soon, I think, yeah.
June 2nd, it'll be out.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm excited too. I'm excited. So, So in Street Fighter 5, since that is your jam, what do you like? Who do you play? Who do you main?
Cammy.
Nice.
100% Cammy, yeah.
Okay. Nice.
What about you?
I main Menot. Yeah, currently I main Menot. But I do kind of mess around with Rose also. So yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so the master and the teacher essentially. Sorry, the master and the student. There we go. Yeah. So yeah, I'm very 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 big on Street Fighter. I've been playing that since single digits. Like that is the game that has been the longest part of my life aside from, well, I guess yeah, that is the game that has been most consistent in my life, Street Fighter, yeah. Yeah.
Aw, awesome.
Yeah, and like that's so cool that you play. That's so awesome. Like we got it. Like
it's awesome.
Yeah, I really like. God, I wish I had more time because and not only that, but like fucking time.
Me too.
Yeah, like it's time and like fucking time differences. So it's like double time bullshit that we have to like overcome to like make that happen. But like yeah, like I would love to like play, and yeah, that'd be so cool. I want to see what you can do.
Yeah, that'd make me so happy. We definitely need to find time to do that sometime. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think we just need to schedule. Like we need to schedule like
a
day.
Think so too.
Yeah. So let's make that happen.
Yeah, for sure.
And like we'll stream it. We'll stream it in like the Undergarden or something like that, or in my Discord, whichever. It doesn't matter. But yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be so sick. Yeah. Yeah. But like, what got you into fighting games? Like how much of it has been a part of your life? Because like I know you said you like Fighter Z and Killer Instinct. Like I've all the games that you've mentioned except I've played everything that you mentioned except for Fighter Z. Guilty Gear Strive was the first Guilty Gear I ever like played, but I've known about the other ones. But I only played Strive. That's the first Guilty Gear I ever played. I've played Killer Instinct back in the day, but I haven't played like the new Killer Instinct. I haven't played the new one that was on, Xbox Live or I think whatever it was. I haven't played that one. And Mortal Kombat I haven't really played because like Mortal Kombat is like my least played fighter. Yeah, I mean it's okay, but I mean if I'm gonna play a 2D 2.5D fighter, it's gonna be Street Fighter. It's that's just my jam.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. So so like what got you into fighting games? Like where did it all begin?
My friend had the friend that lived down the street when I was a kid, because we were too poor to have like a console or anything like that. But he had like a Sega. He had like a Sega Genesis, I think. And it had he had Street Fighter for it and Clay Fighters. And and there was another fighting game I couldn't remember, but it was a poor neighborhood, and like that Genesis was like a hand-me-down. I'm surprised it still worked. And like, so we would just go there and we would play that like every day. And that's like one of the good memories of my childhood is going down the street and playing fighting games with my friend.
Yeah. And if it was on the Genesis, then like I'm so into Street Fighter that I know the Street Fighter game that came out for Genesis. Like it was called Champion Edition. Like it was Street Fighter Champion Edition.
Yeah, okay, I remember now.
Yeah, that's how deep I go with Street Fighter. So yeah, that's really, really cool. Like I didn't play that one that much. I know I did have like I didn't grow up with money. I didn't grow up with money, believe it or not. But like my mom put herself in debt to, get my brother and I stuff. So I did have a Genesis at one point. And but the first Street Fighter that I played wasn't the one on Genesis. It was the one on the SNES. The classic.
Oh, okay, yeah.
The classic.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, that was my first go around. I did my first Hadouken when I was like 6 or 7 years old, and that was like amazing because like there was no training mode back then.
I know,
so,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was like super thrilling. That was like a magical moment. I'm like, how did I do that? Oh man. And like I didn't have a SNES.
I remember.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I didn't own a SNES. I actually had to go to another friend's house, a friend of the family, to play that. So my first exposure to Street Fighter was over at a friend's house, and my second experience with Street Fighter was with another friend who actually had money and had a good PC. His father worked in PC and IT, so he had a good computer and had fucking Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo on the fucking PC, which is it was basically like an arcade port of the game. And it was arcade, like the music was like as if it were in the arcade cabinet type thing, because it's on PC. And that was like, I'm like, what is this game? It's so hard. That was just such a hard game. But yeah, memories, man, memories. Well, yeah, what were we gonna say?
Oh, so I played Street Fighter until like the Dreamcast came out. And then somebody had a Dreamcast and it had Marvel vs. Capcom 3 on it. And that was awesome. That game is so good. I don't know if you played that game, but
I
man,
did.
It's good.
I played mainly MCV2. I think it must have been MCV2. Marvel vs. Capcom 2. I don't know if 3 was on Dreamcast. I don't know. But I know Marvel vs. Capcom 2 was on Dreamcast because I did have a copy, and then I sold it like an idiot.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I didn't.
You had Virtual Fighter 2, right?
Yeah, I mean I played Virtual Fighter. Yeah. God, I said I didn't grow up with money, but like I have all these consoles.
Here you are flexing on me.
Oh
wow.
my
God! All these people.
No.
Can you believe it?
Oh my God. No, I'm not trying to flex. Like, yeah, like you have no idea. Like I was so fucking pissed when I found out how much debt my mom put herself in to get me those things. I was so pissed, and I didn't find out about that until I was like nearly like in my 20s. Like,
oh wow.
Yeah, like I found out about that through like other ways, but like, damn, I was so upset. But yeah, like I had a Saturn. I played Virtual Fighter 2 on that. Yeah. I didn't know what a PlayStation though. I didn't know what a PlayStation, like the Saturn was.
Did I, yeah.
Yeah, the Saturn was the poor man's PlayStation, all things considered. So you know.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah.
It's still not that great.
You don't have to rationalize anything to me. I understand.
Okay.
Sega Saturn having.
Oh man, but yeah. My mom went pretty far to like make my brother and I happy, and it was pretty cool. But yeah. But now I get to help her out. Now I get to make sure that she's still able to like do the things that she needs to do and all that. So I'm kind of paying it forward.
Yeah, that's such a good feeling, isn't it?
Yeah, being able to like pay it forward to the person that helped raise you, and like made sacrifices for your sake. Yeah, it's it's nice to be able to do that and to do so without like terribly like breaking the bank. It's nice. Yeah. For sure. Yeah. But yeah, like we will definitely have to play schedule and play Street Fighter on like at some point.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So and we'll also have to like, well, I mean this will happen regardless, but at some point we will have to do like a Saturday type thing where we're like dancing together and stuff. But or maybe we'll just like be like Red's backup dancers.
Yeah, you want to?
I
I don't know.
mean,
What do I think about that?
yeah, I mean, if Red would like wouldn't mind that, you know. I mean, how would you feel about that? Like we would be like
I've
Red.
done it a couple times before.
Oh, sick! All right,
Yeah,
cool.
I cloned myself and I stood on either side of the decks.
Oh.
Yeah, it worked out really well, I think. Yeah.
Nice. Man, 2 Amons. That's sounds kind of dangerous. It's a tad dangerous. That's that's a lot to handle.
Is that the only thing better than 1 is 2, I guess?
Yeah. True. But yeah. So all right. So let's see about like wrapping this up in a nice neat bow. So.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, where do you see where would you like to be in 5 years?
In 5 years, I want to be with the love of my life because wherever they are is where my home is, and I want to be home.
And I can imagine that being the case after being overseas for, you know, the time that you have been. I'm not sure how long you've been overseas, but, you know, being able to come back and, you know, be with that special person is definitely, like, that's invaluable. So, very nice.
I can't wait, really.
Yeah. I'm very, very sure. Yeah. I love that. I love that a lot. And, is there anything about, because we talked a lot of philosophy and psychology, is there anything that you would you know, suggest to me that I could potentially improve on with the podcast? And I know I'm putting myself on blast, but you know.
I would say if you're gonna make rules and break them, then just don't make them. I'm just kidding.
I'm dead. I'm so dead.
Let's see. If something you could, like something like a value that you could actually like use. I would say you could try, and I know it's hard because like different worlds are different, and there's also some consistency with this one. But if you wanted to, you can change like worlds with different interviews and stuff. So that way, like the viewer, when they're seeing it, they don't really know what to expect. That you might be in a different location and stuff like that. Yeah. But I do understand because I've watched all of your podcasts and they have changed a little bit. Yeah. So I think like yeah. I mean, I guess that would be it. It's small and like not really that relevant, but I think you're doing a great job, to be honest, and so does everybody else. So.
Oh, thank you. That is something I've thought about, like, you know, moving things around and doing it in different locations. But I kind of like I really like the consistency of like having like a certain, like, I don't want to see it as like seasons per se, but like A lot of the people that I've been interviewing lately have been, part of the rave scene. They've been like to some degree a part of that. So I feel like this particular world is comfortable for a lot of people, and like I feel like it feels like a natural place to like talk to people in, given the fact that so many other things happen in this particular world, and even like in the space that we're in right now. So yeah, it's a great idea, and like I definitely do intend. I've definitely thought about it. I do intend on like kind of changing things around, but I'm not sure exactly how and when I want to like kind of integrate that into like why I'm doing it per se. But that's a great point.
Yeah, I would say there's not a big need to change it, you know.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, I definitely appreciate the feedback. Thank you very much for that. And I'm glad that you feel that it's been a good experience for you. It's like you think I'm doing a good job, but I'm just
Yeah,
I'm
you're
just
doing a great job.
thank you. I'm just doing my best. I'm just doing my best. It's something that I really enjoy doing, and like having a chance to really kind of shoot the shit about like your creative pursuits, your passions, the things that you love, the things that you've kind of gone through and overcome, and ultimately like just like all the things in between. It's been a real pleasure to just like talk about these things.
Aw, thank you.
Yeah, we even talk about like game engines and shit. Like that's like I love that kind of shit.
Yeah, we've covered a lot of topics, I think. Yeah.
I think so too, and like I do hope that people who've been tuning in, have a better picture of you, and hopefully learn something that they probably didn't know about you prior. So I hope I did a good job, and hopefully you felt very comfortable and enjoyed yourself. It sounds like you did.
Oh yeah, this has been a great time. Thank you, and I'm very flattered that you have me on.
Yeah, of course. Like I'm so glad that I did. I'm very glad that you were willing to take the time out of your day, out of your Saturday essentially to come on with me and talk. So, thank you so much for that. Like honestly, like I can't do these. I can't do these without people being willing to come on. So like I really am very grateful to anyone who takes the time. So, sincerely do appreciate you, Amon.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
But yeah, so at that let's just say, where can people find you? Let's just kind of jump into that. Where can people find you on the interwebs?
Well, I'm most prevalent in the Undergarden Discord, and I also have a Twitter, and any of the sets I'm usually at. And then also, I guess I'll explain this now too. I'm starting a group in VRChat called The Wolf's Den, and there's nobody in it right now, but my goal is to have people join, and that's where I'll have a lot of like giveaways and things like that. Because eventually I will start streaming. But I want it to be a platform for, people to be able to express themselves. So this group is called The Wolf's Den, and if you don't have, and this is inspired by Oreo, I don't know if they're here, an online cookie, but anybody that joins that doesn't have VRC Plus, I will gift it to them for a month as the first giveaway, and then if you already have it, maybe you can bring a friend along to do that, and then give them the platform to make a group if they want to. So that's how it'll get started. So you could probably find me on there as well once that gets fired up.
Okay, cool.
But if you go to the Undergarden, I'm there all the time. Yeah.
All right, great. And what specifically is your Twitter? I will put it on the screen. But what is your Twitter?
It is AmonTheWolf. I can put it in the chat if you want.
I mean, yeah. I mean, that's up to you. But it's gonna be on the
Okay.
the YouTube
Okay, cool.
the YouTube. So, yeah, I got you.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
got
It's
you.
just AmonTheWolf.
Cool. Love to see it. Love to see it. And damn, I forgot. There was one more question I wanted to ask. I'll ask you.
Uh-oh.
I'll ask after we're done. All right. So the Discord, the Undergarden, and your Twitter, and the Wolves Den once that gets going. Nice. Cool. And you can just send me like an invite link, and I can like put that in the
Okay, yeah.
in the description of the video. Yeah.
Cool, yeah, for sure.
Cool. And you guys, if you don't know already, you can find me on Twitch at Nepherti with 2 eyes. That's I'll put it on the screen below my boobs. Nepherti with 2 eyes, and then also on Twitter, Nepherti with 2 eyes. And obviously, there is a YouTube. If you're watching this on YouTube, you're already there. Congratulations, you made it. But for those of you who don't know, it is just at Nepherti. Literally, you could just type in youtube.com/@Nepherti. I'm pretty sure that'll take you directly to the channel if you're interested in seeing other episodes of the podcast. And, obviously I do have a Discord also. You can come around and hang out there. Links, will be available in the description most likely. And I think that's all. I think that's pretty much it. Yeah. Twitch, Twitter, YouTube. Yeah. All right.
Oh, and if you haven't checked it out yet, your shorts are awesome. They're hilarious on YouTube. And if you haven't seen them, you should go and watch them. They're hilarious.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I say some ridiculous things, and it kind of comes together in a very amazing way at times, sometimes. But I'm glad.
Massachusetts?
Yeah, I know. Crazy, right? I know. You consider me a smart person, and yet I say shit like that. So,
Oh.
So, I fool a lot of people. Don't let the cute face fool you. I'm actually a massive geek, actually. So, yeah. But yeah, I appreciate that you actually have watched them. I had no idea. You've been so supportive behind the scenes. Thank you. I really do appreciate you, Amon. And again, thank you for being super awesome to make full body happen for me. Thank you so much. Really do appreciate you making that happen. I hope that I can get around and make content that is worthy of that gift. So I will do my best to make it.
Oh, you already have. Everyone saw the video.
Yeah, that is true.
You already have, yeah.
Yeah. The people who were here early got to see me bust a move. So that's cool. But yeah. I'm very, very happy about it. So to be able to express myself for someone like yourself who really values that, I do hope that I've been able to express myself, and that and I thank you for helping me, express my passions and make those a reality.
My pleasure.
Yes. So you guys, that's all for this episode of the Sweet Talking Podcast. I really do appreciate you joining us this evening. I will probably be some secret questions. I've been doing some secret questions at the very tail end of the podcast that I will probably be making available on another platform, most likely. but I will make an announcement if and when I decide to do that. But there will most likely, if there will be questions at the end that you can access, and I'll be sure to link that if we make that happen. But in the meantime, I hope you all will like the video if you enjoyed tonight's podcast. Subscribe if you want to see more. Obviously, hit the notification bell. That'd be really, really awesome. And I hope that you'll look forward to more episodes of the Sweet Talking Podcast. We are not done. And Twitter. If you want to get updates about the podcast directly from Twitter, you can find the podcast Twitter will be there for you to check out if you want to get direct updates of who's going to be the next guest. And obviously, if you come to my streams or in my Discord, you'll get all of that information before anyone else. So I would definitely encourage you, if you're interested, give it a look. But in the meantime, like, subscribe, share if you wanna. And thanks for watching. Until next time, I'll see you all again. Bye-bye for now.